Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Dr. Rahman. Good morning, Dr. Lenny, Pauline, fellow guests, or the organizers team, friends and family. Okay, so thank you for coming instead of choosing to spend your weekend with your family. Thanks for spending your precious Saturday morning with us. And then you might need to have a late lunch later. Okay, once we end our session at 1 o'clock. So it's a great honor to be invited by Hui Ling to host. And she's the person who actually initiated this parenting awareness webinar. She is a clinical aromatherapist, also very much passionate in natural holistic therapy. So along the way of the friendship and discussion, then we came along that there are a lot of kids issues getting younger age. For example, like if the kids pak tor, okay, become the age getting younger, it started since kindergarten, okay, and also that teenager suicidal case is getting more, and eczema cases that related to our food and intake, and also the social environment that causes a lot of stress and tension, and also from the emotional part that release from the body, which cause a lot of eczema issue. And also after the COVID case, then a lot of things change in terms of the psychological and the mental part. So it's crucial that we realize that this parenting webinar can actually benefit a lot of us because we are parents as well. And also we are dealing with kids and also dealing with social environment that changed a lot compared to last time. So we like to spread the awareness of realizing the importance of explore and discuss how to communicate better with our children, with our partners, with our friends and co-colleagues, and also understand them so that we will discuss how to coexist and raise the kids together and recognize who they are, what they need. So using natural holistic method, and let's explore very much suitable style together that fits you. Okay, so I'm going to share today's slide. Can anyone see that? So today is the session of Heart to Art Inside Our Parenting webinar. Today is the English session and the Chinese session. The English session I'm going to start from 10 to 1. And then we're going to move on to a 1 hour break. Then those who sign up 2 sessions together, you're going to have 1 hour break. Then you come back at 2 o'clock for the Mandarin session. All right. So thanks to the organizer, Parents Kids Aroma team, okay, and 360 Wellness Hub. 360 Wellness Hub is an NGO. It's a mental clinical psychology clinic located at Bangsa. They provide a lot of services from sensory to mental health, and also provide quick smoking session. So their therapy session and consulting and counseling session is actually very much to achieve a better life and mental health. And for Parent Kids Aroma is made up by a group of passionate and holistic natural therapy therapists, and they are very intensive and very genuine to coach everyone to move into natural holistic healing and treatment so that you could achieve a better lifestyle. And moving on to Fang Fan is also our organizer. Fang Fan is actually a China aromatherapy school with the founder Luna, who has 14 years experience teaching and guiding special needs kids, what we call 特殊学校. So she will join everyone in the Chinese session because she's not going to be here in the English session part. So for those who are joining, please stay tuned for both sessions. Yeah. So thank you for letting me host for today's session. I'm Michelle. So I believe in treasure individual distinctiveness and practice love and compassion, bring tranquilities and joys to everyone. And yes, this is a Chinese speaker session. It mainly made up by Hannah, Vivian, Resilient, Maggie, Yuna, and Fang Fan Luna. So in the afternoon session, there are a lot of speakers going on, and they will share with you what is the best way to communicate with your kids. And also you're going to learn how to draw with teacher Hannah. She's a very amazing teacher. So there are more experts team going to come to you in the afternoon as well. And also Luna 老师 will join. All right. So this morning session, we're going to start with Dr. Rahman. Okay, Dr. Rahman is a very, very good and expert in development psychologist, adolescent specialist. He's a father of 4 children. All of his 4 children love him, and his wife adore him. All right. And he is a specialized dealing with child with development issues, children with trauma issue, and also he's an expert in handling ASD kids as well. So he's currently attached with HUKM and also a consultant for 360 Wellness Hub. Today his topic is about children development for age 0 to 17. So I believe he's gonna break down into different categories for babies, toddler, teenagers, and kids, and gonna discuss what is the real life issue that the kids are currently facing, and what the issue of parents are currently facing as well, and what the kids are stressing about. So, and also their struggle. So let's welcome Dr. Rahman with a round of applause.
Okay, thank you, Michelle.
I'm gonna exit the slide sharing so that you can share, yeah?
Can I start? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, you can start now.
Okay, how? Hello, everyone. Okay, let me share my slide. Okay. Usually when I turn to PowerPoint presentation, it would not move like a stagnant presentation. So I'm not going, let me try again. Now you see first slide, right? Does it move? Does it move to second slide?
Yes.
Oh,
yes,
okay.
yes.
Oh, now
Today
there's magic.
Smooth.
There's a magic today. Oh my God. Okay. But usually when I use Zoom, I cannot use my the button to click the presentation. So like, okay, fine. Today there's magic with 360 and the team. Okay. A very good morning, everybody, and also thank you so much for the invite from the organizer. So let's talk about children development. I think all of us here, we have kids, at least one, or on the way, going to have kids. I believe that. Yeah, I think to know and also to understand about children development nowadays in 2022 is very, very crucial, because there's a lot of demands on children development, and in which basically sometimes parents, us as parents, we might not aware of the red flag of our children's development. Okay, but before we go deeper, in addition to what Michelle mentioned just now about my background, yeah, so this is additional information. So I'm also certified psychotherapist for IPT and Didactic Development Psychotherapy, and also the head of Citra Psychology and Consultation Clinic. So mainly my work at the clinic, yeah, mainly focus on developmental issues of children's. I do a lot of developmental screening, developmental assessment, intervention program for children. Some of the work where I touch closely with parents and doing some of the parental behavior modification, looking at how parental behavior affect children's development. I think this is something that we need to look at closely. Yeah, I know something's quite tough working with parents who are in an emotional denial about their children's development. But I think that's very, very kind of a good invest. Okay, for us psychologists, especially developmental psychology, to work closely with parents and psycho-educate them about children's development. Yeah. Although basically I do some of the interpersonal psychotherapy, but I personally try to avoid doing psychotherapy for MDD or anxiety disorder, because I don't know, I'm more into developmental tasks, kind of work. I would take the personal psychotherapy cases. Yeah, I would do definitely, but I think in terms of weightage, where I think that my developmental work is more than my own other clinical work. Yeah. So let's have a look at introductions of children development. Okay, feel free to ask question. If let's say certain stuff you don't understand, you can always drop questions in the chat box. If I can answer it, I will answer. If not, then we will have get at the end of the session. Is it, Michelle? Yeah, I think we can.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes.
Yeah.
We have gonna have a Q&A session so that you all can ask questions.
Okay.
So in between, just type your question in the box so we
Okay.
can actually ask later on. All right?
Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much. So basically, when we look at these children or childhood development, is very, very important period. So if I were to say this, actually, it's a more sensitive periods of development. Critical period, basically, when they reach at the age of adolescent. But before adolescent, especially the first 6 years, it is the most sensitive periods of development. Because in order to reach their full potential of I would say healthy individuals developmentally. So the children, our kids really need appropriate support, high support from us, especially the biological parents, the extended family. Okay, what else? They need a proper education. If they need healthcare profession during this period, they need someone to monitor their development. They need someone to do the developmental checking, the developmental assessment, monitoring, lots. And in fact, if you look at the first 3 years after birth, this is more rapid growth of development. You can see that even if you look at the cognitive part, the brain, yeah, it somehow creates very complex pathways of neurons, like at an unprecedented speed. Even if you look at children's development at the age of 6 years old, the brain capacity has developed 90% of its adult size. Can you imagine that? And the brain is like a sponge, like absorb a lot of things. How do these children, they learn? They learn from observation. They learn from role model, how the parents model the behavior, how the parents model the attitude. That's how they learn, right? We don't, for example, like certain attitude, like messy attitude, the first 6 years. That's where they learn from parents, not from schools, not from other people. Because if you look at research, to me, the first 6 years, parents very significant in terms of giving impact to the development. But when they grow older, I mean, the developmentally, when they enter primary schools and they enter secondary schools, right? And then when they reach, let's say, to the emerging adulthood, okay, parents are no longer significant to them. Peers are more significant, especially among teenagers. Yeah, this is very, I think we have to understand this. Yeah. Okay, so these early experiences, okay, can somehow lead to good and bad. Whatever they have during the first 6 years, okay, this somehow could lay the foundation, the basis for their basic survivals, for their basic development, and for their future growth, for their future psychological well-being, their mental health components inside. Yeah. So a lot of research stated that, okay, a good early childhood foundations, good early childhood development that comprises 5 domains. Yeah. The physical, the cognitive, the social emotionals, the communication and language, and also the adaptive behavior. Yeah. This is somehow will lead to positive impact, direct impact on children's long-term health and developmental outcomes. Yeah, because if let's say the children does not develop healthily, they don't develop properly, it will somehow affect the school attainment, the school achievement, and even other great opportunities. It might not have that. Okay. Maybe I can focus more on the social emotional development. Okay, I think a lot of people, a lot of parents, we tend to neglect, or how to ask it in other words, maybe we might not look at the emotional and social component is something which is at the same levels of other domains like physical development. A lot of parents that look at physical development, whether they got a proper nutrition or not, you know, they get food, everything, the materialistics of development. Because I believe that this social emotional development is the foundations of other behavioral and psychological issues. It's a foundations. If let's say the individual children experience suppressions or start from early stage, emotionally and socially, it would somehow lead to other mental issues. For examples like depression. What else? Other like a stress, for example, like other regress behavior, externalizing problem behavior, for examples like violence behavior, aggression. The foundations of emotion, social development. We name it as a abandonment of the needs of the emotions of the children's. Yeah, this is very, very vital for their future confidence, for their future communication, for their future relationships, and even including the community inclusions and even mental health. I think this is a part that where basically most parents will neglect. Maybe we might some for examples like divorced family, parental conflict, domestic violence. Yeah, it might from our naked eye, it does involve physical, isn't it? But the emotion and social development, something hidden. That's where basically we might not aware of its impact in the future, right? So we can say that this early childhood development is a period of great opportunities, but yeah, it might also lead to other great vulnerabilities. Okay, so we can see that many children, they cannot realize their full potential because of experiencing adverse conditions in the environment. They cannot. For example, like some research said that in Pakistan, children who receive little sensory stimulation in their rural home, they are more vulnerable to stunting, low weight, and decreased psychomotor development. And psychomotor development is a kid's fine motor and gross motor development. Yeah, this is research stated that. Okay, and even other factors like inadequate nutrition, environmental toxins, unstable caregiving, limited stimulation, parental conflict, parental divorce, and what else? Other family-related stress. All these can negatively impact on a child's development. Definitely, because it's based on research and even based on my experience in clinic dealing with various backgrounds of children coming for assessment, coming for intervention. Yeah. So for example, we can see that even children living in poverty is more likely to experience stress, malnutrition, and unstable caregiving. All these negative impact the child's development, specifically all 5 domains. You can see that. Okay. So so I will look at 7 stages. We're going to talk about 7 stages of child development. Okay, so this is the core component that we're going to look at. The 7 stages and also the domains of development. Okay, what are those domains of development that I think parents, you need to know? You need to monitor our children's development, all the 5 domains. Okay, so for better clarity, the divisions of these 7 stages of development was made. And again, please bear in mind, when we discuss along the way these 7 stages of child development, there are no extreme limits between these stages. Okay, that's why I don't put specific age to age. Okay, I just name it like infancy stage, you know, a toddler stage. Again, there are certain arguments among scholars, among practitioners, and what age to what age basically we can classify kids as teenagers, especially. There's a still limit. As some said in Malaysia, we always look like 17 or 18 is the final stage of adolescence. And when they reach like 19 years old, we do always consider them as young adults. But other literature stated that it is not young adults even. We cannot classify them young adult. Am I right, Michelle? When we were in university life, it's like in 20, 21, we are still dependent, right? We are not
Yes.
dependent. We are not independent. Financially, definitely financially, I would say that. Okay, so we can see that the child almost always goes gradually from one stage of development to another stage of development, right? Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, so this is a basic thing, very roughly designed for you guys. So you can see the age lah. Okay, newborn plus minus is 0 to 3 months. Yeah, some say that up to 5 months, 4 months. Yeah, I mean, it's just the classification, but I'm not really concerned about the specific age, right? As a developmentalist, I'm looking at the specific milestone for each stages. Yeah, so we got newborn 0 to 3 months, we got infant 4 months to 11 months. Yeah, toddlers we got 1 to 2 years, preschoolers 3 to 5 years. I mean, in Malaysia basically is preschoolers up to 6 years, right? 4 to 6. Yeah, can you see that there's a different in terms of age? If you go like abroad, other than Malaysia, preschool is 3 years, not 4 years. Only in Malaysia is 4 to 6. They always mention that. Even school age, other countries 6 is already entered primary schools. But for Malaysia, 7 years old. Can you see that the difference of age? Yeah, that's why I'm not really concerned of the age, but my case is more on the stages and not the specific age. Again, teenagers. Some stated that it's a 14 and above, but in Malaysia, it's 13 years old, practically, something more practical, not conceptually. Even some countries stated that 12 years old is actually already teenagers. Some say that another they're 11 years old. Well, I do not want to fight with this the discrepancy, disagreement on the stages and the age. Fine, it's not a big deal. Okay, again, this is another term. Basically, I would like to use imaging adulthood, 18 to 35. Some say that it is a young adult, but from my practice and my digging on the information, arguing with people, yes, we agree that 18 to 25 is more stable to classify them as imaging adult. It's like halfway, half body, half still adolescent, half is young adult. So they're not fully, how to say, you can classify as a full adult. Because why? I think in Malaysia, you have to understand that. I think worldwide issues, yeah. A ladder to become adulthood is increasing. There's a lot of demands, a lot of tasks, developmental tasks that they need to fulfill before I can claim myself as young adults. One criteria is actually the financial criteria. So look at our kids out there, when they reach 18 years old to 20, 21, are they financially stable? No, even though they go to university, every month still asking for mommy and daddy for duit whatsoever. Oh, habis duit, nak makan tak ada duit, keep asking that. That financially they are not independent. They are still dependent to parents. That's why a lot of researchers says that, scholars says that they are not adult yet. They are imaging adulthood. Yeah, that's a stage, a stage. Okay, now when we talk about those stages, right? Newborn until imaging adulthood. Please bear in mind, each stage we have domain. All these 5 domains. Okay, when we talk about children development during the preschool years, during infancy stage or toddlerhood, what else, the childhood stage or even adolescent stage, Basically, we need to look at those domains of development. What are those domains? Physical, cognitive, language and communication, social emotion, and adaptive behavior. This is basically very, very important for us to look at. There are 5 main domains. Now, we're going to look at one by one. Yeah. What is the physical domain? Physical domain basically refers to the child's ability to perform tasks requiring large, small muscle coordination, the strength, the stamina, the flexibility, the ability to hold a pencil, for example, right? But to ride, okay, for the kids, I mean, to walk, to run, kick a ball, cycling, playing badminton. What else? Drink a cup of tea, for example, using a container, using a mug, for example, take a bath. Okay, that's more on the large, small muscle coordination, right? Even ability to ride. Although basically it's more like language. No, you have to look at the fine motor, how they hold a pencil, like this like this like this. I mean, there's a variety of ways of the kids to hold a pencil, right? Or even a pen. Even very simple tasks like kicking a ball. Can the kid kick a ball? Can they ride a bicycle? Can they do cycling? And these are things that you have to look at. Yeah. And these items, the skills are categorized into those that assess gross motor skills and also fine motor skills. Yeah, this is a physical domain. Because I do notice in the clinic, in my clinic, so sometimes because of parents being so, can I say that's overprotective? I don't know what is the right word. Everything is done by parents, you know. Every single thing. That's
The
why basically
parents
sometimes.
manja the kids.
Yeah, can I use the word manja lah? Okay lah, manja lah kot. Pampered. We say it's pampering the kids and too much. It's okay to pamper them. I'm not saying you cannot pamper your kids, but developmentally, we need to say that when the infancy stage, yeah, it's okay for you to do everything for them. We cannot expect a baby. Can we expect a baby to do for themselves? Cannot. They cannot feed. They cannot feed themselves. We feed for them, right? But when they grow older, developmentally, you have to withdraw your facilitation. You have to withdraw your assistant bit by bit. We name it as scaffolding. The scaffolding should be reduced when they grow older. Let them do by themselves. Button the clothes, zip whatever, the sweater, yeah, comb hair. This is basically more on physical domain. Okay, it much relates to adaptive behavior as well. Surviving skills. Yeah.
We also have refer to,
yeah.
Dr. Rahman, I interrupt you for a while. Is it very
sure.
much refer to the current very fast moving environment that people want to be fast, so they might as well do it for the children so that they can get out like as soon as possible rather than wait for the kids to comb their hair, zip their clothes. You know, kids, they are a bit slow. They need some time to do it. I wouldn't say slow, but they need their time to do it.
Yeah. That's happened, you know, Michelle, and some parents said, Dr. Rahman, cannot sabar, you know, no patient, you know, it's so slow, cannot like everything that you have to wait like half an hour for him or her to dress properly. We rather do for themselves. That's the things that, I mean, once a while, okay lah. Okay, there's always be a technique, you know, when you want to wake them up for schools, you know. Let's say you want to go, let's say 6:30 to send them. Janganlah bangun pukul 6. I mean, you know what, like 1 hour before, like 5:30, you wake your kids up, you know, give time for him to prepare himself. That's the time range for the kids lah. If let's say every morning you want to send your kids 6:30 to school, then you wake him up at 6 o'clock, and then you will do for him everything. Yeah, then that's not good for, I would say, future development. Yeah, even
can we ask the floor who actually do that, still do that for their kids?
No worries, you can share with us actually. I think we need to change that, you know. Yeah, because sometimes the parents, even for eating, right? Because to me, when it comes to feeding your kids, right? I think a certain age, I think if you do notice when the kids reach like 2 years old, they want to do by themselves. You notice or not? But a bit messy eating, and that's fine. I know some OCD parents cannot see all the rice drop on the floor. Cannot. The water spill on the table. They cannot see that. It's very OCD type of parents. You know what is OCD? Obsessive compulsive behavior. Oh, cannot see dirt, messy, cannot. Everything should be a proper arrangement. We have that. But I would rather say that pity the kids lah. A bit more suppressed kind of development. Yeah. Now, for the cognitive domain, this is basically skills necessary for them to successful academically and even intellectually. Okay, so this is very important for us to look at whether their capability, ability, the skills, that are prerequisites to scholastic functioning in academic, particularly reading, writing, arithmetic, computer use, and even logic. Okay, so usually how we do measure this, okay, at the preschool years and older ages, this skill usually measured directly to their actual school or academic performance. Usually macam tadika kan, usually the teacher will give like half year, 6 months report for the child's progressions, right? They will give like a report card, not only the academic, sometimes they will give you, certain schools, they give you like developmental checklist. Oh, anak cik boleh buat ni, anak cik tak boleh meloncat. Tak boleh meloncat, tapi kat rumah macam monyet, Mak. Like a monkey jumping here and there, how come at school cannot loncat? Then you have to communicate with your teacher. Something which is not right. Maybe the environmental issues in the schools. Okay, but this is some issues happens, yeah. So this is some of the cognitive domain. Okay, I think being a Malaysian, the cognitive domain is major concern of most parents. Am I right? How come my kids cannot get A? How come got B? Dr. Rahman, anak saya dapat B, tak boleh dapat A. How come to get A? This is the thing. Basically, we too much concerns of the getting A's for all papers. You have to understand, when it comes to preschool years, is not meant for academic. Frankly speaking, it's not meant for academic. It's fine if he got C. The preschool years is meant for social emotional development, supposedly. Okay, I think we did discuss this. There are a few schools very concerned about giving kids at the age of 4 and 5 a lot of homeworks at home. We are cognitively abuse the kids cognitively, and supposedly they need to live as they are, like being a kids. Once they finish their school, they need to play. Go ahead with play. Nothing wrong with that. Let them play. That's how they learn. Yeah. But I think like most parents, they don't buy the idea. No, cannot. Dr. Rahman cannot. I disagree. My kids need to after school, there's a tuition. There is a certain parents send their preschoolers kids to tuition center. I want him to get A. I still remember when I was my first son and my second son, where I sent to one of private schools. I mean primary school, the preschool, Tadika, preschools, yes. When we like having the report card day, and then a lot of parents will keep asking, anak dapat berapa A? Back then, Cik Rahman, Cik Rahman, your son dapat berapa A? I was like, what? Why keep asking this question? Okay, the second one got how many A's? Oh, the second one's the first one getting more. I mean, the academy better than the second one. So, in my house, so what? Now, there's some parents, sometimes they don't understand about the preschools. Yes, the importance of preschool for the social emotional development. There are a lot of children, they're getting depressed, stressed academically because they cannot cope, but they don't know how to express that because maybe the expectation of the parents is very high. The school expectation is also very high, but the kids' developmental capacity cannot reach of that expectation. That somehow will give them like suppressions of the emotions as well. Yeah. Now we have language and communication domain. This is basically refers to child's expressive and receptive communication skills, as indicated through verbal and non-verbal communication or non-verbal language. Okay, I think this is very, 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 very simple for us to understand the use of understanding of spoken and written and some gestural language. Yeah, this is look at how basically the ability of the children to use those skills. For example, the right word a certain age, they should be able to speak. Dada, mama, I want to eat, go to school, sleep, for example. Even the proper written, simple words, simple sentences at certain age. Okay, and also their ability to use and also to understand the non-verbal cues and language. For example, like shh, silent, good, okay, come, bye-bye. And these are some of basics non-verbal language. Even sometimes the non-verbal language in terms of, in a sense that for them to understand the emotional gesture, the anger, happy, sad. This is some sort of non-verbal communication. This basically refers to specifically the social emotion domain, where the child's interpersonal relationship skills, them to understand his own emotion and other people's emotional capacity as well. Oh, she's sad. He's happy. But for autism children, they cannot have this understanding. They don't understand this. They don't have the fear inside, some of them. They cannot relate to other people. The social skill, can they relate to other people? Can they make a friend? A normal kid can. A normal kids can. They can make a friend. Hello, hi, how are you? Some super friendly. There's some not many, but certainly very super friendly. Hi, how are you? Whenever they see people, they will address all people, right? Yeah, but some kids, they don't have that. But if they don't address people properly, we don't say that they are emotionally suppressed or they are emotionally delayed. No, it's not necessarily. That's why I think a proper screening, a proper assessment is very, very important to look at it. And whether the kids basically just a normal kids, having normal development, or actually developmental delay, or basically he or she has other disabilities like ASD, autism spectrum issues. Okay, even like ADHD, attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. It's another issue that sometimes you can see that physically hyperactive. Okay, cannot
So, Dr.
control
Rahman,
emotions. Yeah, sure.
okay. Actually, there's a flaw. Some guest left a message for us. She was asking, what if the child is actually shy, but he or she is not ASD? How do we categorize this kind of kids?
Okay, shy. Sometimes shyness actually is an indicator of we have two reasons for the kids to have this shy behavior. Sometimes the shyness might be due to the temperament. Okay, the temperament. Sometimes it can be due to the environmental issues. Again, I want to know as well the specific age of the shyness. Is it male or female? It's very common for female a girl, yeah, to feel shy at a very young age. But if there is the shyness is very, very obvious at the age of, let's say, primary schools, to me, that is something red flag for us to look at. Okay, that's why basically to understand developmental milestone. Shyness actually for very young age is very normal. Okay, but young age at the shyness at the age of teenage stage, it is not something which we consider as a normal. It's a red flag. Maybe other indicators. Maybe due to other experience of adverse childhood experience, or it could be due to low self-esteem, low self-confidence, or maybe due to other environmental factors that being bullied. It could be that. Okay. Again, bring to the psychologist to have a screening and assessment to look at the possibility of the children. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. So this is very, very important, social emotional skills, because I've seen that a lot of, especially if you notice that during the COVID-19, right? A lot of kids who experience or undergo or went through this COVID-19, MCO1, MCO2, PKP, PKPB, whatsoever. If you look at them carefully, if you do observe our kids, you can see a certain pattern of development. Because why? Most of our kids, if you do notice that, most of them occupied with gadgets since 2020, a lot of them, including my kids. Betul tak? Because most of them do this online thingy, online learning. So then you can see that most of them having deprived in terms of social emotional development. Yes. When they're too much with gadget, they do not know how to communicate. They do not know how to relate with other people in a reality. Virtually, they're good in social media. Virtually, they're good in connecting with people. But if you put two kids side by side, you can see the pattern. Both of them will occupy with a gadget. That's a red flag for kids. Red flag. So first thing first, I would tell the parents, stop the gadget thingy. Limit. Okay, the screen time whatsoever. Usually I would ask my first question, how many hours a day, not a week, a day the kids occupied with telephones or laptop whatsoever. Some parents say that from morning until night, that's not good for development. At a certain period of time, you need to allow your kids go outside and play with your friends, the physical activities. That's where you can see whether your kids basically develop appropriately or not. Yeah. Last one we have is the fifth domain, adaptive behavior domain. This basically refers to child's competency in activities of daily living. Ability to eat, ability to perform a proper eating behavior, dressing properly, self-care, functioning independently, even utilizing some modern technology. Currently, if let's say we're talking about phone, although basically he doesn't have a phone, but he knows how to operate the phone. He knows how to operate the remote control. I think now this kid is very clever, right? Even my kids, when we got years back, we got this Unify and Astro whatsoever. He teach me how to press certain button to get certain channel whatsoever. He knows how to fast forward or the movie whatsoever. He teach me. Maybe I'm not that kind of person to explore the remote control, but he explored the remote control. Again, this is very, very important. Proper eating. To use that, it's very simple. I think it's very good for us to teach our children to use the skills. Use hand, the fingers to eat, to use spoon and fork to eat, and to use, let's say, chopstick to eat. These are skills, yeah? I teach my kids those three. Chopstick, food and forks, and also fingers. I mean, as a Malay, definitely lah. The first thing is to use fingers lah kan. I mean, when they grow older, so basically, I remember when I went to Japan, Tokyo, I bought a lot of chopsticks. Even in fact, you can get in Malaysia. Then yeah, that's where we start to use, whenever we eat noodles, frankly speaking, noodles saja, then we will use chopstick. Yeah, this is the skills. Okay, self-care, another thing that you have to look at as well, because quite frequent nowadays, a lot of teenagers, not children below 12, above 12, yeah, a lot of them, they don't know how to have a proper self-care. I'll give you examples. They don't know how to make their bed. They don't know how to segregate clean clothes and a dirty one. They combine all together. They don't fold the clothes properly. Everything's jammed in one particular big basket. Yeah, they put everything in cupboard. It happens. So what we did last time, I talked to the carers. This is happening in shelter home. So what we did basically, we had this self-management monitoring for 3 months. For 3 months, the first step, basically, the carers will do together with the kids. This is 13 years old boys, yeah, 13 years, 13 tahun, lelaki. So what we did 3 months, follow up. Then the first month, second month, and the third month, I think the enter fourth month, yeah, the kids, that particular boy can do by themselves. If you just simply that oh, you have to put your clothes in this container, whatsoever, he won't do. You have to do together with them. This is how basically the monitoring system we do with some of shelter homes. Yeah. Now, look at the stage 1. We're back to the newborn stage. Okay, we already understand about the domains. Now look at the stage 1, newborn. Okay, first of the 7 stages of child development is a newborn stage. So this is where it's characterized the child adapts itself to the new environment and it begins to experience stimuli and adapt to the environment demand. This is a very, very important stage for them to develop the trust, the security. Can I trust the environment? Can I trust my biological parents? Okay, is there any good attachment with my biological parents? Okay, this is basically very, very basic. That's why I said newborn below 3 years old is a sensitive period. Okay, when it passes this period of basic adaptation and succeed in maintaining itself in life, it begins to grow rapidly and change into an infant stage. Yeah. So this one basically is very important for you to do a lot of stimulation activity with your newborn. But some will argue with me, tapi kan Dr. Rahman, because the kids won't understand, the baby won't understand what you're talking. Yes, I'm not asking, you don't expect the newborn to speak like adults. No, you will be shocked, you will die, got heart attack if your newborn 1 month talking to you. Okay, extra careful, and it's not a parent expect that. No, it's not. It's not. Okay, when we talk to our newborn, it's about stimulating the brain. You know, like as I said just now, right earlier, 90%, the nerves, the neurons. Okay, the progressions very rapid. That's why can you see some of the newborn will reflect or will react to you when you're talking to them. You make a joke, you know, like hide and seek play with them, peekaboo, it's a peekaboo activities. Yeah, they will give a response. You talk to them, they will look at you, staring at you. Yeah. Why I say this is very important for early identification of autism spectrum issues. If the baby, that's what they say, monitoring very important. Okay, when they reach 1 month, 1 year, 2 years, even the first 6 months, if the baby you call name, after 6 months, if there is no response, sometimes you have to send your kids for medical checkup, whether they got hearing problem or sight problem. If both clear, and go for other developmental screening. It could be autism, early detection, but we don't say it's a confirmed autism. It could be delay in certain aspects of development. Yeah. Stage 2 infant, this is the main problem for the newborn, is the proper diet. Yeah, I think most of us looking at the proper diet for our infant, right? So if they develop properly, the child should switch to mixed food during the first year of life and slowly leaving the breastfeeding. And this is where you can see that a lot of infants, they start to crawl, walk, and they control their physiological needs. Okay, even to pee also they can control. They start to control, they start to control. At the toilet training, yeah, you can start a proper, toddler. This is the first sign, 2 to 3 years old plus minus. Okay, the first sign of autonomy are the transition of the toddler stage, where every single thing they want to do by themselves. Very simple. They show the independency. They want to go to the toilet. They want to pull off the pants. They want to put on the clothes. Yeah, it's more independent. They want to eat by themselves. You can see that. Please do allow them. Please teach them properly. If they do a messy behavior, it's fine. This is toddler stage. We don't expect them like adults. Next, we have stage 4 preschools. By the end of 3 years, okay, they completely manage the movement. You can see very good in terms of the ability to control their motor skills. Yeah, the ability for them to control all 5 domains, supposedly. Yeah, supposedly. Even the speech very, very well developed. We can say that they can relate to you. Okay, they even can go to the playground by themselves, playing with other kids. Yeah, these are preschools. Now you can see that during this development period, the child spread the circle of people he's contacting. Yeah, you can see that they're able to leave their home, they go to other environment. What are the other environment? For example, the neighborhood area. They can go to playground, play with other kids. They can go to the next door, calling for their friends. This is basically the development. So yeah, this is a stage 1 and stage 5. Starting school means that a new beginning, the new stage in the life of the young person. As I said earlier, in Malaysia, the school age is 7 years old and above, proper school age. That's why the preschool is actually a preparation for the school age, yeah, whatever that the domains that we're talking about just now. Yeah, the school age is where the child is supposedly is preparing for more systematic work and more cooperation in a collective with persons equal to him. So they need to learn disciplines, a collective of life, a proper, more advanced adaptive behavior functions in the more, I would say that, broader community. Okay. So that's what basically, even in school, yeah, a child acquires systematics knowledge about the world. They adopt a lot of skills. I think the school is very, very important because when they grow older, the progressions of development, if you want to look at a proper development of children, you have to look at 2 settings. One setting at school, one more home. These 2 very, very important. Even if I do assessment, basically I will do like both checking, asking the parents about their progressions at school. How is the progression looks like? Is there any report from the parent, from the teachers, any complaint from the teachers? Can I look at the kids punya school achievement or the academic report? Yeah, that is a must for me. Not only the academic, I will also look at the behavior report as well. Because it happens, yeah, when the parent says that, oh, at home, my son being complained, having ADHD symptoms. And when I go through the assessment, when I look at the school report, there is no such complaints of the kids having ADHD symptoms. Only at the grandmother's house. I wonder what happened at the grandmother's house. Okay, I wonder what happened. So then we just realized that after school hours, the boy will go to the grandmother's house for the rest of the day. And the mom is a teacher and will pick the boy around 6 o'clock. So like 4 hours with the grandmother. But that's why the grandmother complained about the grandchild having ADHD symptoms. Cannot sit still, you know, jumping and climbing, do some dangerous stuff. Yeah. There could be environmental factors, not necessarily the kids might be having ADHD. Yeah. So stage 6, adolescents and teenage. This is very, very another important aspect because, as I said earlier, the first 6 months is more on sensitive period. This stage 6 is a critical period. Why I say so? Because of this is where they are looking for identity. That's why there's a lot of teenagers having identity confusion, identity conflicts. When they have a proper developmental support at the early stage of their life, usually when they reach stage 6, they're a bit more stable. Even though they might have some issues, but they are more, they're easy to settle as compared to kids who having like unresolved, unfinished business during the early stage. It will carry over. It's a cumulative, all the factors, combined factors. Yeah. You have to understand at this stage they entered the puberty stage, right? Yeah. This is where changes in terms of hormones, secondary sexual functions, a lot of query in themselves. They're asking more questions. Peers is their best buddy, no longer parents. Yeah. Okay. We have to understand that. Yeah. That's why basically, if you try to stop the kids, our teenage kids, yeah, from socializing with their friends, they were not happy. They will ask you why. why I can connect with my friends, why I can't communicate with my friend via WhatsApp using phone, why can I use computer after 10? There's a lot of why questions. Yeah, there's an art of parenting for you to talk nicely with the kids. Now, emerging adulthood, we did mention just now. This is where the child is not yet fully independent, financially, socially. Yeah, I would say that because they need to be rewarded a lot. Yeah, every time, every semester end, going to the parents' house, you know. Yeah, and then that's why basically emerging adult. They're not adult yet. Okay, in those years, many young people are still not psychologically or economically stable. They're not able to make all the responsibility for themselves as an independent member of the community. They still have their own limitations in their growth, basically. That's why we name it emerging adulthood. So I would say this is the last stage of child development, but it would take more years. Like in Malaysia, maybe after the graduation, okay. Yeah, but even now, there's a lot of kids having like continue at the degree, at the diploma, goes to degree, and then goes to master level, right? I mean, the ladder development is more, right? That's why I would say that some, they might reach young adult much early as compared to others. Like in rural environment, in a less industrialized environment, less industrialized country, right? Yeah, young people become independent much earlier because they start to work, earn money by themselves, and got married at a young age. Yeah, even maybe during our grandmother's time in 80s, 70s, they got married at the age of 15 years old. Right. When they reach 20s, already 5 kids. For us, 20 years old, tak ada anak pun. Baru dah masuk university. Can you see that? There's a different demands. Yeah. Okay, I will skip this one. Almost similar, the same thing. But I want to look at on the developmental monitoring. I want to highlight on the importance of developmental monitoring. When we talk about the stages, we talk about the domains of development, the 5 domains. First thing first, very important for us parents, yeah, to monitor the development of our children. If let's say us as a professionals, as development psychology, me myself, this is an activity usually I will do with my client. Yeah, it's an activity from visit to visit. We will following how the child is progressing from specific domain to specific domain. There is no specific years, so there's no specific months, but usually talking to the mental professional, talking to developmentalists or psychologists, yeah, there was certain time that we might want to observe the kids, maybe quarterly, maybe every 6 months, maybe a year, an annual thingy. That's why in order to tap the developmental monitoring, we will look at developmental milestone. Okay, this will basically is a form of checklist where we give a home visitor a tool. Sometimes, yeah, we give a parent tool for parents to monitor their parents' development. If red flag, come and see us. Okay, that also be for a early intervention for parents at home, what you can do with your kids. We also have developmental, this one, yeah. Okay. Okay, developmental milestone. So as I said earlier, this is a functional skills, or we can say the age-specific tasks that where the children and adolescent display for the first time. Even children, especially the infant, the toddler, skills, smiling, taking first steps, saying dada, mama. These are developmental milestone. Okay, there's a lot of cases like developmental delay. They are not autism or other issues that is a delay. 4 years old still cannot have a proper vocabularies, cannot talk. Most of the time it's more like pointing as if ASD autism. But when we do monitor until 6 years old, there's no such how to say that ASD symptoms. Yeah, it's just a delay. Okay. So yeah, I would say that developmental and behavior screening using milestone is very, very important in early detections of developmental difficulties or delay. Again, you have to understand that our children might have developmental delay, but not all developmental delay is associated with ASD, autism, no. But autism children, they have delay, especially in their communication and also the social, emotional aspects. They can relate with other people. Yeah, you have to understand that these two the different differences. But it's kind of like overlapping a bit. Developmental screening. So basically, as a developmentalist, I will do screening first before we go for a further assessment. Okay, this is basically it can be a one-time off or repeated activity at specific age. Usually, we will use standardized assessment, valid and reliable developmental screening tools. Yeah. So basically, if we use this, usually I will focus more on those 5 domains lah, looking at the is there any delays or any red flags in the development. Okay. Again, these screening tools do not provide diagnosis. Yeah, this is not diagnosis. But the screen tools will indicate whether your child are developing well at par with children with the same age, or whether they are concerned or red flag that we should follow up for formal assessment. Some countries, they have different screening specific age, like US, 9 months, 18 months, 30 to 36 months. Yeah. UK, bit different, a newborn, 1 to 2 weeks, and 6 to 8 weeks, even 12 months, and 24 to 30 months. Yeah. And the information may be used, okay, what we do with this kind of screening. So all this information that we got for the screening is to improve programming for certain group or geographic region. Or we can say that sometimes we use the information for IEP. IEP stands for Individualized Education Program, or EIP, Early Intervention Program. Yeah, EIP and IEP. Yeah. Okay. So again, as I said just now, a comprehensive assessment, a battery of a test should be done properly to look at the strength of the children. Okay, because we need those information, as I said just now earlier. I mean, to promote optimal development by providing EIP and also IEP for the children. Okay, the question is why monitoring is so super important. Because you have to understand your children develop rapidly during these years. Okay, and also we know that they develop at different rates. Please do not compare your kids with other kids. If your kids born early years and the other kids born end of the year, the development is not the same, the developmental rate. If my son born somewhere in November or December of the year, and maybe Michelle's baby born January or February, early years, we can see there's a huge discrepancy of the development. A lot of parents like to compare. Dr. Rahman, his cousin can speak properly what? Now we look at the month, the gap is like a 9 to 8 months gap. Definitely cannot lah. Same year, exactly year. But that's why basically as a developmental, I will look at the month, year and month, not only year. But Malaysia, we always like refer to year. Oh, lahir tahun berapa? Umur berapa tahun? Oh, 2 tahun. But I will look at the month. 2 tahun berapa bulan? 2 tahun 1 bulan tidak sama dengan 2 tahun 11 bulan. Developmental rate different. And this is very important for us to understand as well. But if you still have concern, nothing wrong to talk your developmental psychologist, and we will help you definitely. Yeah. So yeah.
Your time is like almost up already. We need to open up for the Q&A.
Yeah, okay, sure. No problem. If you have any question, go ahead. Yeah. Is there any question? Then let me have a look at.
Yeah. So the floor, the guests, you all have questions, please open up and ask now. Dr. Rahman is very good in handling child development. So any issue of your ASD child or development delay, please use this time to come and ask. Dr. Rahman per session is 500 per hour, you know. So since you are here today already, please feel free to ask anything that you wanting to know, and you can help your child, or you want to understand more about your children. So I know some of you who came today, you all have questions like yesterday, you all dropped WhatsApp or email to us. So now you are already at this stage. Please open up your mic and then ask. The floor is now yours. So parents, or you
Not
want to type
afraid.
out
Come on,
again?
you can ask. Yeah. Any question? Yeah, I would try to answer your question. No problem.
Hannah, is it the one that didn't turn off the mic? Anyone? Come on. Now it's your time. So for those who actually leave me a question, I will ask on you on behalf. So if anything can relate, you all can actually raise your hand or chip in, yeah? So should an autism child attend to a normal school, Dr. Rahman?
Okay, this is basically a debate among educators, even among psychologists, even among mental professionals. To me, you have to look at the severity of the symptoms. To me, for mild cases, mild to moderate, yeah, they can go to normal school provided they also have the special needs school as well. Because some of my clients, the early morning they go to the therapy first, then afternoon they go to normal school. I always believe in inclusive curriculum. Meaning, what does it mean, inclusive curriculum? Inclusive curriculum means that the children should attend or experience or being exposed with other normal kids. That's a refer to inclusive curriculum. No segregations or no like okay, only this curriculum only meant for autism kids. Yeah, but for moderate to severe, yeah, I mean, as I said earlier, I mean, you have to look at the symptoms. Severe and also non-verbal, yeah, non-verbal and severe usually quite difficult for the kids to adjust. And yeah, but when it comes to schooling, okay, it's again how well the school prepared their teachers with the special needs kids. But I believe that some teachers, they're not prepared, they are not well trained in dealing with special needs children's. Yeah, that's a problem actually. What I see sometimes you can still have exclusive curriculum rather than inclusive curriculum. Yeah. If you ask me
So
whether I
there's
can or cannot, go for screening and assessment. Look at whether it is a mild to moderate. Yes, I would say. But also you have to look at whether it is verbal or non-verbal. Verbal is much easier. A mild, but it's a verbal.
I see. All right. Thank you, Dr. Rahman, for the answering the solution. So Chong actually has another question. If a boy start to touch his is in the chat box actually. If a boy start to touch his sex organ, how should we teach him or help him to release his sexual? By doing exercise will do?
Okay. I just wonder the age of the boy. Is it like preschool years or is it like teenage years?
Chong,
Or
actually
is
you
it
can open up your mic if you
yeah,
want to.
11?
Oh, he is
Okay.
11.
11 is basically it's a pre lah. I would say it's a pre-adolescent. Yeah. Again, to me, before we go for specific intervention, try to understand the factors that lead him to touch his sex organ. Is it because of yeah, sometimes no, I'm talking about nowadays, yeah, the current generation, they always expose a lot of information, unnecessary information on the internet. Yeah, sometimes movies, even if you look at this K-pop thingy, right? Sometimes, yeah, I mean, the dress code of the female singer, female group, a bit, I don't know, sometimes it can trigger certain emotions of these young boys, yeah. Again, as a parent, I think one thing for step one, try to identify the factors that lead your boys or your in family members, yeah, to touch his sex organ. I think another step basically, once you identify the reason, the factors, then you can start. The first step basically is talking with him. I always like to talk with kids first. The reason, explore. Yeah, this is very, 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 very important to explore first before you teach. Okay, that's good to have, and also you need to have a proper routine. Some kids, when they feel bored, they don't have activity, and that's why they start thinking about other things, touching the penis or whatsoever. Then that's good if you can plan the activities for the children, for our children. Meaning that they have a proper routine. Activities like it's activities. Yeah. That's one of the way to distract them from thinking about the sexual organ and yeah. Sometimes it's also due to the onset of puberty. Sometimes some boys actually 11 years already reach the puberty. Very, very super early. Very super early. Some very rare cases. Okay. It's either naturally or not naturally. I do not know. Okay, there are cases happen. Yeah, that's why when they start early, there's an exploration about their body more. That's why I think to talk with the kids privately, if let's say is a boy, that's good the father figure to talk with him about the sexual thingy and everything. If let's say we have open communication with our children, they don't shy to ask you as a parent. If girls, that's good the mother to approach and talk about all those things. Yeah. It works. Yeah, it works when we work with parents about the same issue. Let's say we give that time frame like 2 months to 3 months, a trial period. Yeah, it works. I would say 70% to 80% works. Yeah. Another 30% why it doesn't work, inconsistency from the parent side. That's the problem. Okay.
All right. Thank you,
Okay.
Dr. Ron.
Yeah.
So, Chong, if you have any questions, feel free to draw an email to us further on or WhatsApp the team. All right. So, we come to the last question. Stanley has a question that is there any possibility for non-verbal autistic kids to be verbal after attending speech therapy? Or to say speech therapy, is it necessary for a non-verbal autistic kids?
Okay, you still need to send your kids usually to ST or OT, okay, for usually even being a developmentalist, usually we recommend, right, for you to send your kids to OT and ST. But the problem is actually whether it's non-verbal or verbal thingy. If let's say non-verbal, can they become verbal after doing speech therapy is very subjective. I would definitely say yes, I would definitely say no. It depends on the progressions. The symptom can improve or can be getting better or can be worsened. Because you have to understand, autism is a neurodevelopmental disorder. It's a neurodevelopmental disorder. So it also depends on the quality of the I'd say what is the rehab center, how well the ST or AT work with the kids. Yeah, 1-to-1 or yeah. This will be my answer.
I believe it's also suitable of the teachers towards the kids as well.
Yeah.
So
Usually
finding
in
a right teacher. Not
the
the
right
good teacher, I would say.
Yeah, good teacher.
The right teacher.
Sometimes the teachers, sometimes the center very good. Sometimes the individual teacher can work with the kid. There's no chemistry, sometimes. Yeah. That's why basically in a rehab center, usually for this autism, they have multidisciplinary people. They have special need teachers, they have OT, they have ST, they have developmental psychologists working, they have pediatrician, they work closely together. Yeah.
I believe it's a courage for the parents to actually ask to change the teacher if you find the teacher is not the right teacher or the suitable teacher to your kids. You should ask to change. There's no shy. Actually, we realize that there are a lot of parents actually quite shy to do that. They say, I still want to be with the center. Then if I request too much, will they actually mistreat my child or what? This kind of mentality, I think you need to pull out and then come in and say, okay, I think this teacher doesn't suitable for my kids. I want to try the other one and see how it goes. Things like that. Sometimes believing in your intuition is also one of the guideline. I would say you find that this teacher doesn't really fit the requirement. I think I should change. It's also one of the way to see, because you will know how your kids behave from the beginning and the mid of the therapy. Then you realize something is not right or things like that. You need to discuss and be open up. I would say so.
Yeah, I think most of the cases as well, the one that I have when we follow up, not to say that, I mean, although basically non-verbal autistic kids initially been diagnosed as non-verbal, but I think like 10 to 20% only that they can become verbal after attending speech therapy. Very less likely. But they still can communicate, but that's not the communication, not like a verbal autistic kids. Yeah, it's not like a verbal one. They still I would consider as a non-verbal. Maybe they still can utter a few words here and there. Yeah. Again, the symptom, as I said, can be can improve or it can getting worse. Yeah, when they grow. Some kids, yeah, when as ASD, this is what we have noticed, yeah, in terms of the development. Initially, basically, the directions of the behavior very mild, but when they grow older, it's getting severe. Yeah, it happens. It happens. Although basically the kids was sent to very good center with OT, ST, psychology working together, but because of it is neurodevelopmental, it's getting worse. There's a symptom can be worsened actually over time. Yeah. I think that's
All
all.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hope this helped. Stanley, if you have any questions, please feel free to drop more to us if you really need more help. So thank you, Dr. Rahman, for today's session. So we're going to move on to our next speaker, which is Dr. Lenny. Okay, so let me introduce my favorite guru here, Dr. Lenny Su. She's an integrated clinical therapist with her specialization in addiction, relationship, trauma, grief and loss, and also in neurocognitive disorder. So she's committing a lifetime to a passion in complementary, traditional, and alternative medicals for more than 30 years as well. So not to say more about what is autism that you all have already heard from the Dr. Rahman on child development, let's welcome Dr. Lenny further with our second topic of the day, which most of you are looking forward to, which understanding autism and why early detection and intervention is so important. Right? Welcome, Dr. Lenny.
Hello, can you hear me? Hi, everybody.
And yeah, we can hear you.
Thank you for spending the time. I was just listening to, Dr. Rahman's lecture, and it was amazing. Thank you, Dr. Rahman. Always nice listening to your lectures, and a lot of information there. And okay, let me talk a little bit about mine. I will expand a little bit on what Dr. Rahman has actually spoken about. And basically today, my focus is more on helping parents understand a little bit more about autism. And Dr. Rahman, talks about the developmental stages of autistic and non-autistic kid. I thought I'll focus a little bit more on the autistic kid. All right, so let me just share screen here. Does anyone wants to take a break first? And if you want to take a break, do you want to go and take a break? Do we want to give them a break?
We can give them a break, no problem.
Yeah, maybe give them a break.
5 minutes break.
After they come
Go
back,
to toilet, drink some water, shake yourself, and then only come back.
Yes.
Sure, go ahead.
Okay, so I think Dr. Rahman have covered why early detection and treatment is important for understanding autism. And I see that a lot of parents here today is very interested in basically learning more about autism. And, other than among all the other developmental issues that a child and an adult might have. So let us talk then a little bit more about autism that may help you. A lot of theories have been covered, a lot of the information have been covered. So my one will be more questioning, right? So here we go. Just to give you some statistics to begin with, when it comes to autism, 1 in 44 children has been identified with autism. This is, of course, the report from the CDC in the United States. And according to the same report, autism has increased 178% since the year 2000. Now, should we be afraid of these numbers? The answer is no. You don't have to be afraid of these numbers. Why? Because the ASD rate have increased simply because we have actually changed the presentation of autism into a spectrum since 2000, increasing the number of cases. When we move or when we present the autism as a spectrum, the number increase, and that's why the number of autism cases have been increasing since the year 2000. And another reason why the ASD rate have been increasing is that more children now have access to ASD diagnosis. Early detection, like what Dr. Rahman says, is extremely important, especially since the window of opportunity, that means the window to help this child becomes very functional, is very short. It's in the early part of their life, starting from the time that you realize that they are a little bit different, which is normally around a couple of months into the birth of this baby. From that time onwards, if you help it, then you will improve the quality of life. So, are you born with autism? The answer is yes. Autism is not a medical condition with treatment or a cure. If you're born autistic, you will remain autistic your whole life. But that does not mean that you cannot function. I will go into that and elaborate a little bit more later. Is there a DNA test for autism? Yes. The most common test for ASD is called chromosomal microarray, or CMA. This test looks at chromosomes to see if there are extra or missing parts that could cause ASD. CMA finds a genetic cause in about 5% to 14% of people with ASD who have the test. So you see, even with CMA, not all people who have been tested using CMA who are autistic have this genetic cause, right? So if the genetic cause is not 100% of the reason for the ASD, what other causes can there be? There are many causes that I think Dr. Rahman have covered: environmental factor, pollution, a lot of things. I will talk a little bit later about heavy metal. One of the major causes for this, for the onset of autism may be due to heavy metal. Heavy metal in both the parent or in the child, or in the parent and child environment. And this is something that we all can change, right? We can all make a difference, in terms of the environment and in terms of the heavy metal. So how many percentage of ASD children are aggressive? Now, when we talk about ASD children, a lot of them are very mild. A lot of them are really, really nice children to have around, they are loving, they're kind, they're warm. But there is 20% of these ASD children who are actually quite aggressive, very, very hard to parent, very hard to deal with. Now, the reason for this is something called the brain glucose dysregulation. The glucose in their brain doesn't regulate in the normal way. They either have too much, or another reason might be because they have too much or too little neurotransmitters such as serotonin, dopamine, and adrenaline. Another factor is their astrocytes glucose and stress cytokines. These kind of problems, this kind of chemical imbalance can actually cause these ASD children to sometimes be quite aggressive, to the point where the parents cannot really cope with them because of their aggression. So regulating their brain glucose, regulating the neurotransmitters, regulating the astrocytes glucose and the cytokines can actually help decrease the the child's aggression. So like in our clinic, how we do it is that we test the child, and then after that we look at the this kind of dysregulation in the child's brain, and then we create a very safe nutraceutical, because everybody who knows me knows that I'm always very careful when it comes to medicating children or even adults. So I create this very natural nutraceutical to regulate these problems that you see now on the screen, and to regulate the neurotransmitters, to regulate the glucose, and because they are supplements, they are very safe, and in a lot of ways they have a very broad spectrum of good effects for the children rather than negative effects. So is heavy metal toxicity linked to autism? Yes. Now, when we say that heavy metal is linked to autism, that means when the mother conceives the child, or when the father and the mother produces this child, the heavy metal in the parents can be transmitted to this child, and also the environment, like if they're staying in a very polluted environment, absorbing a lot of heavy metal, these appear to be a trigger also for autism. So exposure to environmental toxicants, specifically, these are the list that actually cause the most problems: mercury, lead, arsenic, PCBs, and toluenes. These are the main heavy metal issue, heavy metal that we know after many 100 years of research. We know that these are the known causes of neurodevelopmental disorders. So since autism is a neurological disorder, and these are the heavy metal that cause neurodevelopmental disorders, you can see the link, right? So the link is very deep. So if this is the case, and one of the researchers that I know went and did this just studies on ASD. Now, this study on ASD involves 2 million people across 5 countries. I was involved in it because of the Australian group of it, because this study involves 5 countries: Denmark, Finland, Sweden, Israel, and Western Australia. So the Australian part of it, I was involved with that. And what this study found is that ASD is 80% genetic and 20% environmental causes. So 80% is genetic, but the genetic needs something to trigger it. So what is the trigger? We think it is heavy metal. And 20%, of course, is the negative environment that you are living in. All right, so does stress during pregnancy cause autism? Now, the answer is yes, but don't blame the mothers. Don't blame the mothers, right? Because the maternal aspect of it may only be contributing 1% to the whole spectrum. But high level of stress during pregnancy has been connected to autism by triggering the autism, especially when the mother is around 25 to 28 weeks. During this 25 to 28 weeks, that means once the pregnancy has passed 6 months and enter the final trimester, the environment that the mom is in must be calm. And that's why, in the old days, they always say, my wife is pregnant, please, everything must be calm, don't upset the pregnant woman. They are right. Our grandmothers, our great-grandmothers, the old ancient wisdom is right. Because we now know scientifically that, in the last trimester, if we don't keep the mother stress-free or manage the mother's stress, then there is a high chance not just of autism, but many other neurodevelopmental disorders. For example, besides ASD, there are other issues as well. For example, slow learners, dyslexia, a lot of other learning difficulties will come in, because that's the time when the child's, the fetus brain is developing. And when the fetus brain is developing and there's a lot of stress from the mother and from the environment, then even loud noises can trigger this kind of effects in the fetus. So during this time, if you're planning to have kids, or if your friend is planning to have kids, please do me a favor and educate them, because I hope that all the knowledge that you have gained here today, you can use it to help other people, because this is our goal at 360 Wellness Hub. Dr. Rahman and my goal is to make sure that we give you the information so that you can go out and not just help yourself, but also inform others of it. So if your friend is pregnant, then tell them, or tell their family, after 6 months, the final trimester, please, try to keep things calm for your wife, so that when she gives birth, everything will be fine. A lot of people don't want to hear this, but you just have to tell them, right? If you can save one child, that would be great. Now, this is another question that a lot of parents ask me. Can too much screen time be bad for ASD victims? Very interesting. The answer is yes. So I have one case, an autistic case, and what I did was I told the parents to not give the child any screen time for 1 month. Now, this child doesn't speak very much, right? It's a nonverbal autism, and so after 1 month without the screen time, the child started to say small things like mama, papa, all those things. Now you could say it's because the child is now 1 month older, but then, another way to look at it is that without the blue light, without the screen time, this child has actually improved and actually have become so much more interactive without the screen time. So blue light, avoid it. Screen time for babies linked to high-risk autism-like syndrome later in childhood. Here's the example. Longer screen time at 1 year old was significantly associated with ASD at 3 years of age. So you give them the tablet to look at 1 year old, and then later on when they're 3 years old, they might develop autistic syndrome. So avoiding the screen time for the kids would be a very good idea, especially one that is so young, right? Okay. Now, please, when you're listening to all this, don't take it personally, because this is not about you. This is just about the educating you on what it is. It's not saying that parents are at fault. I know, this is nothing like that. This is just the research, and this is just so that people know. We have done a lot of things in the past that we don't know. We thought it's good for us, but then later it's not good for us. This is very common. Babies don't come with a manual, right? And no one tells us how to be a good parent. We just have to learn it on the go and learn it. And every child is different. So every way of parenting the child is very different. Okay, what happens if autism is not treated? So, of course, if you don't treat the autism early, if you don't go for an intervention, no matter how simple the intervention may be, adults who do not receive appropriate treatment may have trouble living independently, may be unemployed, and may struggle with relationships. All right, even if they are very, very high functioning autistics, they will still struggle in their life in these aspects, So what do students with autism struggle with in school? So earlier I hear a few parents asking about schools and all that. Well, school activities that may be particularly challenging for students with ASD include social interactions, of course, because they don't want to talk to people, they are non-verbal, they want to stay away from people and all that. So social interaction, noisy, disorganized environment, intense sensory stimulation, like in a mall, too many noises, all that, and changes in expected routine. These kind of things can trigger their trauma. These kind of things can trigger their anxiety. And because they lack the complex social skills that come so naturally to others, these also sometimes increase the risk of them getting bullied in school. And many also have difficulties coping with the curriculum. So for these kind of children, I don't know if homeschool is the answer, but I know that being able to interact with other children is very important for them. But maybe not in a normal school environment where they are at high risk of getting bullied, where they don't quite fit in. So maybe a special school would be better for them. So we always talk about autism and gift, right? Like autistic children are all gifted. But how many percentage of these autistic children are really gifted? So now, first of all, please, autism and intelligence are two separate characteristics. They are not the same. Estimated rates of intellectual giftedness in ASD children are around 0.7 to 2%, compared to about 1% in general public. So when it comes to intelligence, the difference between the autistic children and the general public is probably about like maybe right 1%, but that is again the spectrum. So what this means is that less than 2% of people with autism will be like Dustin Hoffman in the movie Rain Man. Have you all watched the movie Rain Man? It's very interesting. It talks about this autistic guy and his brother and these special gifts that this autistic person have, and but not, unfortunately, not many ASD victims are like the Rain Man. Okay. What are the two major problems that ASD adults and children experience? Now, this might not be well known. The first is insomnia. They actually suffer from insomnia. Second is social anxiety. Of course, social anxiety everybody knows, but insomnia is something that not many of them know. So sometimes if you have an autistic children, you might find it quite difficult to put that child to sleep. And there's a range of reasons for this, including because they have difficulties relaxing, they find it very difficult to relax, they find it very difficult to wind down, and they also have these irregular melatonin levels. That's why, when we treat an ASD, I believe that when you want to treat ASD, you must treat it from a very holistic perspective. You cannot just look at behavioral. You cannot just look at cognitive. You cannot just look at nutrition. You must look at everything in one, at one setting, and then treat the child in this 360 holistic manner, because that's the only way that we can actually close all the gaps. So, for example, if the child has got a melatonin dysfunctionality, that means the child's brain doesn't, melatonin production is not well regulated. So then we have to fix this problem first, because this is the reason why the child is misbehaving. This is the reason why the child is always throwing a tantrum. This is the reason why the child maybe cannot sleep, right? Or maybe is doesn't feel tired all the time. So these are some of the biological reasons or biochemical or molecular medical reasons that we must fix first before we fix all the rest of it. Remember, by the way, I'm a neuro counseling psychologist, so I look at it from a neuro side. So I look at it from a neurodegenerative, neuro adaptive and neuroregeneration side of ASD. So let's talk a little bit about non-verbal autistic children. One of the major problems with autistic children in school is that they don't want to talk. They just want to keep quiet. They don't want to talk. Teacher asks them anything, they just keep quiet. Other children try to interact with them. They don't respond. They don't even want to look at the other children or the teachers for that matter. So these kind of non-verbal ASD children do not show the typical wave of brain activity involved in linking objects to their names. So the reason why they have this delay, you know, like they're not talking, this may be one of the reasons why. It may be because they have this mechanism in their brain that hampers the development of speech in these children. So usually what we need to do in this kind of cases is we need to neuroregulate the dysfunctional brainwave. By neuroregulating the dysfunctional brainwave, by adjusting and training their brain, you know, because our brain is like a muscle, right? So we can train different muscles in the brain. By training the brain and hoping for neuroplasticity to take, for other parts of the brain to take over these verbal functions, like that child that I told you about, you know, they can start to talk again. They can start to talk again. Why is it that the screen time is not good for them? One of the reasons that I think, all right, this is a theory, but one of the reasons that I think is because when they look at the screen is interfering with their brain activities. The frequency, the lights is interfering with their brain activities. And because it's interfering with their brain activities, and because their brain activities is already deregulated or not well regulated, that's why, you know, they actually find it very difficult to talk, find it very difficult to regulate their own brain waves, and you know, the screen time actually might make it worse. So I think this is the reason why a lot of autistic children are non-verbal, because, and if we adjust their brain wave, there is a very good chance that they will start to become more verbal, which is what we need, right? So the question we all parents will ask is my child okay? I'm going to show you a video, and it's just a short video, but it will tell you 5 signs that your child do not have autism. Isn't that nice? Okay, just one moment. Let me play this.
Hi everyone, this is Rob, and I'm the father of 3 boys, Ian, Connor, and Alistair, who are all diagnosed on the autism spectrum.
Sorry,
so we've had.
Let me put it in a big.
Hi everyone, this is Rob, and I'm the father of 3 boys, Ian, Connor, and Alistair, who are all diagnosed on the autism spectrum. So we've had many emails and comment requests over the years for people who want to know if they or someone they care about has autism. I'll be showing comparisons of family to help contrast more clearly the differences in autistic people versus neurotypical people. Neurotypical essentially meaning any average person with normal brain function, no mental differences or disabilities. We'll be showing my sons versus their cousins in roughly the same age bracket. This isn't a perfect science, as you'll see my niece in here as well, and females often experience autism a little differently. But I believe this video will still be very helpful. Also, as with all our videos, please do your own research, seek professional opinions, and remember this video is a guideline, not a concrete diagnosis. Number 1. So this first example you're seeing is good eye contact from my nephew and poor eye contact from my son who has autism. If you have good eye contact, chances are low that you have autism. Generally speaking, people with autism have a hard time making long-term eye contact. It makes them feel uncomfortable. I've heard various reasons why this is so, but for the purposes of this example, just know that if the person in question has good eye contact and isn't looking all over the room, their chances of having autism have significantly decreased. Number 2, sitting still without fidgeting, rocking, or stimming. If the person in question is generally pretty good at sitting still and being patient, the chances of them having autism are significantly lower. Now, a word of caution here, and I can already hear the keyboards lighting up the comment section. Yes, every child is like a Tasmanian devil at some point and will refuse to sit still. What you are looking for specifically is odd tics, odd muscle movements, excessive hand flapping and finger movement, rocking back and forth repeatedly. And caution, a lot of babies rock back and forth on all fours. That's normal behavior. Also, look for repeating words or sounds over and over again, not in a learning way, but in a stuck behavior kind of way. Now, bear in mind, some of these behaviors may not be autism related, but may be related to a different or combined neurological issue, such as Tourette syndrome or sensory processing disorder. Number 3, hitting all milestones, including verbal, walking, reading, fine motor skills, and so on. If your little one is making decent to good progress in the common baby and toddler milestones, again, chances are low they have autism. Sadly, I don't have a lot of video for this portion, and I'd have to go digging through old videos and hard drives to try and find enough, but I think this screen will suffice. Number 4, good social skills, not awkward. If you or a loved one has basic social skills, can make their way through a standard conversation with little sweat, chances are pretty low there's autism in the mix. I'm going to ask my sons and their cousins some basic questions, and you'll be able to see how they react. All right, Donnie, how old are you?
6.
What's your favorite color?
Yellow and pink.
Yellow and pink? What are your favorite things to do?
Pretty much anything fun is right now going on electronics.
Electronics, huh?
Mm-hmm.
What kind of electronics?
Mostly phone.
Yeah? Do you use an iPhone?
iPhone 6.
Nice. What kind of apps do you have on it?
I have no idea.
Alistair, how old are you?
I'm 6.
You're 6?
Yes.
What's your favorite color?
Green.
Green?
Yes.
Can you look at me? What are some of your favorite things to do? You have favorite hobbies, things you like to do
Yes.
for fun? Can you tell me what those things are?
Are.
Alistair? I
Yeah.
can't see you. Can you tell me what things you like to do?
Yes.
What are things you like to do? What? I can't hear you, bud. What are some things you like to do?
Go to school.
Go to school?
Yes.
Yeah, what do you like about school?
Kindergarten.
You like kindergarten, but what do you like about school? You like any subjects?
Yes.
Like what? Well, I think you guys get the idea. It's kind of hard to have a conversation with the back of a head.
I'm in green grass.
Yeah, you like grass. All right, Branson, how old are you?
8.
8 years old. What's your favorite color?
Blue.
Blue. What kind of things do you like to do?
Play basketball, coloring, playing with Legos.
Legos? What are your favorite Lego sets?
Harry Potter ones.
All right, Connor, how old are you?
I'm 10.
10 years old. What's your favorite color?
Light blue.
Ooh, light blue. What are some of your favorite things to do?
Play video games, go to water parks, and play with my family.
Can you speak up a little bit so I can hear you? Sorry, it's
Play-
windy out here.
Play video games, go in the water park, and hang out and play with family.
Yeah? What's your favorite thing about hanging with family?
Well, I think I like playing with them in favorite activity buildings, like Natural Museum of Curiosity.
At the Museum of Curiosity. That's a fun place.
Mhm.
Cool. Anything else?
No.
Kyler, how old are you?
9.
What's your favorite color?
Blue.
Blue. What kind of stuff do you like to do?
Go on electronics, play with friends, and play with Hot Wheels.
What are your favorite Hot Wheels cars?
Probably Bugattis.
Ooh, Bugattis. Like the Veyron and the Chiron?
Yeah, I have a red Bugatti up in my room that's like a toy and it actually like drives and stuff.
That's awesome. All right, Ian, how old are you?
I'm 12 years old, turning 13, and I'm turning 13 this month.
Okay, great. What's your favorite color?
Well, let's see. I like pure shiny blue. I even like pure shiny red. Like maybe blood shiny red.
Okay. And what are some of your favorite things to do?
Sometimes I'd like to do devices when going out's not available. And I even like to go out and get some tasty things. I even like to eat out. And sometimes when I do devices at home, maybe I would hear Skillet.
Number 5, does not react poorly to lots of stimuli. Does you or a loved one act normal in public settings, especially areas that are noisy and have flashing lights or strong smells? Well, if they don't act up in these areas of high sensory input, chances are they don't have autism. Now, this one may be a little tricky, but essentially you need to determine if the person in question is getting fussy from the surrounding climate, or because they didn't get something they wanted, like candy from the checkout stand. Bear in mind that people with autism can throw tantrums too. It's not always a sensory meltdown, but the signs to see an impending meltdown usually relate to a person getting really squirmy, making lots of odd noises like growling, extra fidgeting and stimming, and essentially just looking really uncomfortable in the given situation. If a kid stops from acting up in public if they get what they wanted, then it's a tantrum. I'm not recommending giving into a child's rage-fueled whims. I'm just saying that if you're really uncertain which is which, this is always a good way to check. Just don't make a habit of giving into a tantrum or your child will throw tantrums constantly. Also, this should be obvious, but I'll mention it to avoid the inevitable comment. Yes, anyone will become cranky in public setting that's loud, smelly, or has flashing lights if they stay there for far too long. I'm talking about after a few minutes to an hour or two maximum, not half days or full days of being exposed to high sensory input. Well, everyone, I hope this video was helpful. Obviously, there are other signs, and none of these signs are absolute. So please don't overthink things or panic. Again, please seek professional help if you feel there is need for it. We only aim to be helpful in our videos and educate to the best of our knowledge. If you can think of anything we missed, please leave a comment.
So
Thanks,
there
everybody.
you go. You've just seen this video, and I will love to hear what you have to say about it.
Hi, everyone.
So I think when we talk about early detection and treatment that is important for ASD, I think Dr. Rahman have covered a lot about it. So basically, early detection can provide your child with a better life. And for parents, you can really benefit because it improves the parental relationship with the child. And it's challenging to care for a ASD child. So early preparation, intervention can help parents prepare for what is ahead. Yeah, you need to prepare a little bit more than normal children for a child with ASD. So how to manage a child with ASD? Step 1, detox the heavy metal. Just remove the heavy metal from the child's body. Start developmental therapy very early, step 2, and step 3, continue to increase the child's functionality until the child reaches his early 20s. So what do I mean by, so step 1 means detox, right? So at 360 Wellness Hub, we have this very good, I think this very good detox program that goes for 3 months. And we're trying to keep the costs down so that we can help as many people as possible, but it involves nutraceutical and also antibiotics and all that to clear everything out. Then after that, developmental therapy that Dr. Rahman have mentioned earlier, all the different types of developmental therapy have to be started quite early on when you have already discovered that your child have got autism. And the third one is this is something that you have to do all the time, daily. You got to continue to increase the child's functionality, because a lot of problems with the autistic child is that they cannot function. They cannot put on their own. They cannot help themselves. They need a lot of help. They need a lot of support. So you need to help them to increase their independence by increasing increasing their functionality. Make them more functional, teach them how to cook, teach them how to wash their things, teach them how to tie their shoelace, teach them how to put on their clothes, teach them how to brush their teeth, teach them all these things so that they can independently do it without you, and then make it into a routine. Once you make things into a routine, after you have taught them how to be functional, they will just follow the routine, you know, and then your life will be so much better. I'm sure most of you have done this already, and I'm sure most of you have experience doing this. Maybe I would love to hear you share some of your experience with me on some of the methods that you have used, and maybe we can try to figure out either change your method a little bit or improve your method a little bit to help this child, to help you manage the child better. So remember, I want to close this topic with don't blame the mothers. Maternal factors like mother's weight, mode or timing of delivery, nutritional intake, are they a contributing factor to autism? Yeah, but negligible, all right, 1%. So don't blame the moms. It's not the mom's fault that, you know, there is an autistic child. Autistic child, like we have already spoken for the last 2 hours, is mostly about, you know, environmental factors and genes. So for assessment, diagnosis, and early intervention of ASD for both children and adults, please contact us at 360 Wellness Hub. This is our number. And I think Michelle has put it into the WhatsApp group as well. So please, we want to help those with ASD. So please help us to help those with ASD. Thank you very much. And I'll go back to my first slide, and I'm ready to answer any questions that you may have, or if you want to ask me anything, feel free to do so. Yeah, I'm here to assist. Any questions?
Thank you, Dr. Lenny. Thank you, Dr. Lenny, for sharing the understanding of ASD even more for every one of us. And Dr. Rahman, child development, like in a crucial early age, is really, really important actually to make us realize and make changes for a better living for both parents and us. So questions from the floor. I know a lot of you actually having a lot of questions because when we wanting to sign up, then you all start asking. So please ask now. All right. And Dr. Lenny, can I ask on behalf of one of the moms? Okay.
Yeah,
the kids
sure.
go for the MRI for brain scan as per doctor's suggestion.
Actually, what? Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah. Should the kids go for MRI for brain scan as per the doctor's suggestion for the autism kids? Because he actually reluctant to do that because the kids has to put in anesthetic to do so.
Why do they need a brain scan?
They were saying that for the autism kids, they want to understand more about the neural, the brain. So the doctor actually wanted
What kind of brain scan? What kind of brain scan?
MRI.
MRI? I don't. I mean, I don't think you know, an autistic kid needs an MRI. I mean, that's I mean, we want to look at the brain wave, you know. I mean, we're not trying to look at whether the kid has a tumor in the brain or not. You know, I don't know why the doctor suggested that. I'm sure the doctor have a very good medical reason for doing it. But for me, normally, if I'm going to diagnose a child with autism, I wouldn't use an MRI. There are other ways to do it.
All right, let me convey the message. Thank you, Dr. Lenny. So the floor, please pick up if you want. You can unmute yourself and then talk about it if you want to.
Maybe if no one wants to talk about it, I would like to listen to some of the experience that the participants have. I don't know which participant have experience with ASD, but do you know, Michelle, whether any of our participants have experience with ASD?
Actually, those that come today, 3 of them actually have or more actually have autism child, but I think they are not in, they are in the condition of inconvenient to talk. So
Okay,
they actually asked a question yesterday. So I will ask on behalf of them.
maybe Michelle, you can tell us then a little bit about your experience, and then from there, maybe let's talk about how you manage your child, and then from there we look at the methods that are used.
Okay, so for my girl, she is going for OT and PT, and currently we're still waiting to go for speech therapy, and she wasn't diagnosed with autism because she has very good eye contact, but she just doesn't want to talk in the school. But she talk a lot at home, like very jija at home, talk a lot. But then in the school, she was quite a silent. She can like being non-verbal for entire day and not asking for help and talk very, very soft. Even the teacher asked her. So they were saying that, oh, probably she's just slow in terms of warming up, but we see that warming up for 3 years in the kindergarten is already a red flag. It's not a right thing. So we try to encourage her. Then we realize that it's a very low self-esteem. She is very, very afraid to make mistakes. Okay, and she needs a lot of encouragement when you tell her that, oh, you are doing very good, and we encourage her. Then she can do and show you, oh, I can do that.
So probably
there are
probably your child does not have autism, but maybe your child is super shy. Maybe they have got some self-esteem problem, and and in these kind of cases, I think what you're doing is very good. You're building up your child's confidence. And
so is
what
and
other
we
things?
communicate a lot with
Sorry?
teachers. We communicate a lot with the teachers, saying
Yeah.
that, okay, she might need to be put in the center of the line, the queue line, because we realized that the teacher put her at the back, so that because she doesn't talk, so we realized this is not a thing that the teacher should do. Is she cannot be in front, but at least in the center, she can actually imitate other kids or try to mingle as she wanted to. But if putting her at the back, so she's gonna hide herself even more. So this is the current thing that I'm talking to the teacher. Please put her in the center of the line so that she can mingle. And we talk to the teacher saying that probably she needs more patience because she don't understand. She cannot relate words like a picture of the milk with the words. So she cannot relate. Something is missing. That there's a gap over
So
here.
like what I was saying earlier, some of them may have this problem because of they cannot relate simply because of the brainwave differences. There is a brainwave difference, and with this brainwave difference, they find it hard to express themselves. They cannot link, right, the object to that name, and so they are a bit slow in answering. It's not that they cannot answer, it's just that they are a bit slow in answering. So usually in this kind of case, neuroregulation of the dysfunctional brainwave is actually very good for them, especially now that we know that they are very, very chicha at home. It's only when they are outside with people that they become very shy, very quiet, don't want to talk. But the good thing is that your child can still mimic other child, so there is a lot of hope. And these kind of children, sometimes they become okay after puberty. They suddenly become okay because the dysfunctionality of the brainwave suddenly fixes itself. So then they will become okay. Try to keep them away from too much screen time, because I think the screen time will not help them very much. I see that there was someone else that said that they have the same problem as well with their child, right? So I think a lot of children are like that these days. Not just your children. A lot of children these days are very shy. Especially I see those COVID-19 children. They are very, very shy. They don't know how to mix with people. And when they mix with people, because 2 years they don't see anybody, they don't mix with anybody, they find it very difficult to jump in, and suddenly, mix with all the peers. They don't know what to do. They just stay there and then they don't know what to do. But maybe it will take another year or two of slow integration for them to actually develop that part of their brain that actually can interact with people. Because it's very strange, but these 2 years of lockdown show us that if we don't socialize the kids, constantly socialize the kids, it will actually affect the development of their brain. So now we have the evidence around the world, because 2 years lockdown, look at what is happening to the kids. So slowly socialize the kids again would make a big difference.
Yeah,
Vivian?
not at normal school. So Stanley actually asking the question of how to improve the neurodevelopment that you were mentioning.
The neurodevelopment. So there are a lot of ways to, there are many different ways to improve the neurodevelopment. One of the ways is, of course, through exercise. Engaging different motor skills, engaging different sensory pathways will actually help the child improve in terms of the neurocognitive part of the brain. And because exercise increases neuroplasticity, exposing them to very interesting things like Hui-Ling exposing her son to scuba diving, to a new world. These kind of things actually creates neuroplasticity. And when there is neuroplasticity, we can make a lot of difference in ASD children, especially. So the idea when we talk about, I said step 1, step 2, step 3. Step 1, get rid of all the heavy metals first, because heavy metals, if it's still there, it's going to clog up the brain. And when it clogs up the brain, like for example, lead is a very big cause of autism. It clogs up the brain. It's not supposed to be there, but it is there. And when it's there, it clogs up all the things, so the brain cannot function properly. So get rid of that first. And once you get rid of that, you might see maybe 30 to 40% improvement. After the 30 or 40% improvement, then you go for all the therapies, like you go for developmental therapy, you go for all the other therapies that are out there, OT, PT, all these other therapies, speech therapy, all that, you go for that. But as long as the brain and then on the neurological system is clogged up, there's not much that you can do. Of course, you can do a difference, but the difference will be very limited. So if you want to have a jump in the improvement, maybe this is something that you can consider. And of course, consider exposure, exposing them slowly, because you cannot simply put, you saw the video, right? You cannot simply put this autistic child in a very sensory stimulating environment without any trauma. So you need to be very careful. And if your child have trauma, for those parents who are here that have autistic children, if your child have trauma, what should you do? Like if your child is having a meltdown, what should you do? If you cannot share with us verbally, maybe you can type it in. If your child has got a meltdown, what are the methods that you use?
You need to give them some time to type it up. Yeah, digesting probably. So we leave them with the time to type it out, and then in the chat box, while some of them wanting to ask like how, I also have a question like how to remove the heavy metal. Okay, we do heavy metal detox. The most common way, of course, is through chelation. We have oral chelation and all that, but chelation doesn't remove the heavy metal that has already lodged itself into the bones. So if your heavy metal is already in your bones, in your teeth and all that, we need to use a different method other than chelation to take it out. So we use multiple approaches. The first thing that we might do is to give the child some 5 days of antibiotics, deworm the child, remove all the fungus from the body, because all these things also can produce the heavy metal attached to them, so then they just, and then because they're in the body of the child, we remove all this first. After that, then we start an oral chelation, and then we also do the restore. We have to restore back the
neurodegenerative aspects of the body after the detox. We cannot just simply detox, and then don't know what else. We have to look at the neural pathways and then do it properly. So some of them might be more towards lead poisoning, some of them might be more towards mercury poisoning, some of them might have aluminium poisoning. Aluminium poisoning is a very big thing these days because a lot of outside food, they cook the food in aluminium. Like the I see a lot of the restaurant, they put the fish in the aluminium foil and then they close the aluminium foil, then they cook that. So that one is absorbing aluminium, and of course plastic, PCB, right? A lot of plastic bottles, water bottles that people carry around with them. The water bottles are fine, but once you expose it to the sunlight, like you put the water bottle in the car, the PCB will absorb into the water. So it really depends on what you need, and how you're going to look into all these kind of things.
Yes, Stanley,
We have Stanley. Yes,
physical.
we have a heavy metal testing service. We use bioresonance tests for heavy metals, and also we can do a hair analysis. That we take some of the child's hair, because our hair contains all the chemicals that is in our body. So we take a portion of the house and we do a hair analysis. So there are many ways that we can do it, but normally, bioresonance should be enough.
Yeah, so I'll attach the contact and the email for appointments. You all can make appointment with the team to actually do that, to
Okay.
analyze.
Yeah.
And further back to the question of Dr. Lenny, you were asking what are the ways to calm. So Queenie was saying that self calm down first, use empathy to address the emotion part first, then when the child have a breakdown. And Chong saying that many try and error to overcome my son's different trauma.
Okay, autism child, they need a few things. They need a headset. They need a headset. They need a headset. And then when they are in a high stimulus environment, you ask them to wear their headset. And the moment they wear their headset, they feel comfortable. So number one, get a headset for them to close their ears so that they don't get overstimulated by everything that is happening. Number two, when they have a meltdown, like in a public place, when they have a meltdown, what you need to do is to reduce the environmental stimulation, because they are overstimulated. Like you see in the video just now, that boy in the shopping, he was having a meltdown because he was overstimulated. He was afraid, he was scary, because when an autistic child gets overstimulated, they feel as if everything is coming towards them. Their vision gets into this very funny way of thinking. They suddenly feel like they cannot breathe. They suddenly feel that like everything is just coming in and squeezing them. So that's why they are reacting that way. They are reacting that way out of fear. So you have to reduce the fear. How you reduce it? Get them hoodies. I always tell the parents with autistic children, to get hoodies for the child. So you can just put the hoodie up so that it takes away some of the environment, and headphones so that it reduces some of the environment stimulation. Even these two small things can actually help an autistic child a lot to reduce the tantrums, to reduce the meltdown.
And Stanley was saying that
sorry?
the autistic son, Stanley was saying that his autistic son tantrum is under control compared to his younger age. His challenge is when exposed to noise, which causes the meltdown.
Correct. So that's why I said headphones. Headphones is your son's medicine. This headphones is your son's medicine. You get him a headphone that he will have to wear every time he go out, so that this will reduce the noise distraction that he gets. And
okay, Sandy. And also hoodie.
Yes.
hoodie over the head. Malaysia is hot, you can get the one without the sleeve.
Yeah. Yes, can.
With the hoodie.
Yeah. I don't know. I think Malaysia, I wear hoodie all the time also. I think they're quite nice, you know, quite stylish, cool.
Yeah, it is, but only over the Shanghai, we only wear it during autumn or winter.
Yes, true.
But it's nice to have. All right, if you still have any question further on, actually 360 Wellness can provide a lot of neurotherapy training and also diagnosis for your children. So if you have any appointments you want to make, feel free to contact the hotline. I will already type in the message box and also email for more. You can make appointment with Dr. Rahman or Dr. Lenny Su over there. All right. And Hui Lin is actually with 360 Wellness Hub as well. So let's get ready, a cup of water, take a sip, and then we're going to move on with Hui Lin. And thanks again with Dr. Lenny for letting us understand more about ASD and also make everyone realize that ASD is actually a normal child, right? It's just that they behave in an individual way, just like every one of us is very unique in our own way. So probably our parents during young are also saying that, why you have so many problems? Other kids are normal. We always say that other kids are all the angel kids. How we look at our kids now we also still will do that, but actually don't compare. I would say really don't compare. Each of us is actually very unique. Okay, include ourselves as well. So all right, let's get ready with a cup of water, take a sip, and then those of you want to go to the toilet, please do so, because we are going to move into Hui Lin's session, which she is going to teach you how to do breathing. She is a breathing coach that actually can calm you and also your child. You might want to bring your kids along if he or she is by your side to do that together with you. So everyone go to a short 5 to 10 minutes break to get your bowl empty so that you don't run to the toilet halfway. All right, so you can actually know how to do it, and then it's going to help a lot of every one of us, even your family members, to calm down when you have tsunami inside your heart. Okay, all right, so let's take a short break. Okay, let's take a short break. So we're going to come back here around 12:20. Is that okay, Melin? Your mic is mute.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. Can you hear me? Yes.
Can. All right. So those of you still have any questions? So please leave messages for
those
us.
who had our goodie bags already, inside the goodie bag there's a little small oil that I blended. It's actually for every mom. I call that oil blend as me time. So if you have that oil blend, please bring along. For those that who got the goodie bag from that we sent to you together with 2023 calendar. Inside there is oil blend that we give actually to mommy and pack together with a lipstick for the kids. That is called me time oil blend. That is a time that you do the breathing together. You can apply together with the oil for your me time and for your kids' me time. So actually it's breathing time and it's almost like it's all me time together. So we're going to practice that, and I will share with some tips that with you some tips that how we can do it in a very fun way, and the kids they are willing to practice together. Okay, so get ready your water, your oil, and whatever that your sons and your kids or your daughter, if they are willing to do together, and we can practice together before we have our lunch. Okay, see you all shortly.
All right, Dr. Lenny, are you still around?
Yes, I'm here.
So Chong was saying that give them time to get used to the thing they fear and having anxiety, and still give them the opportunity and environment to cope with the fear. And sometimes a good story to let them reduce the fear, which is his way of doing so. Do you agree with that?
Depends on what the things are. I think at all times with autistic children is about the distortion in their senses. So if we can reduce the distortion in the senses, we will not trigger their fight or flight. We will not trigger their meltdown. So I think, Chong, your way of doing it can be very, very helpful. So that's a good way. You must understand your child. Every child is different. You must understand your child, and you go according to what works for your child. For some children, giving them time to get used to the things that they are afraid is great. For some children, it is very traumatizing, because every time you expose them, you're traumatizing them. Every time you expose them, you're traumatizing them. So that kind of reaction is not what we want, right? We don't want to traumatize our child again and again by exposing them to the things that we know that they are afraid of. So how we expose it to them, we have to be very sensitive about it. We have to go slow with it. But for some children, yes, if you do it properly, I think that's a very good way. But just have to do it properly, and always be very observant of a child. Like for me, I will always observe a child very, very carefully before I instigate any changes in this child. Like because sometimes something that works for one child will not work for another child, even if they're not autistic. Yeah. So let's say if the child is just a slow learner, and then I keep pushing the same thing, like there is a method called Arrowsmith method. So this Arrowsmith method, if the child is not good in math, they keep pushing the child to do math for half an hour every day, So then this child, two things can happen to the child. The child can eventually become good in maths, or the other way, the child refuses to go to school. So, although Arrowsmith, you can Google Arrowsmith method, is very, very famous, and it's a very, very expensive method. But it doesn't work for everybody. And I have gone through many tools, learning tools, education tools for children with all kinds of problems. Not every tool works for every children. You have to know your child. And I'll give you an example, like Roy is Huiling's kid, and Roy and me are buddies, right? We are buddies. And like Roy is very, very active, right? When he was young, he was super active. Anybody can look at Roy and says that maybe think that Roy is hyperactive, but the way that Huiling approached it, with her aromatherapy, with her tuina and all that, she explored so many different methods to find the right methods to treat Roy. And now Roy is a very accomplished, very, very outspoken, very opinionated young man who is very smart as well. And so but let's say, for example, Huiling, out of the many methods that you have tried, many didn't work, right?
Yes.
Many
No,
didn't
not
work.
everything works.
Yeah, not everything works. So
I tried from Japan to Japanese method to French to Indian to all that method. Not every method works. Yeah.
Exactly, not
But
every
I have to
method
find the
works.
best that suits him. Yeah.
Correct. So not every method works, and I noticed that even with expensive tools, expensive psychological tools, not every method works. So there's no cookie cutter. So you must bring the child to a therapist that can actually spend time with the child, look at the child, observe the child. That is actually the best way to get the breakthrough that you're looking for. Yep, so that's my answer. I hope that answers your question, Stanley and John.
All right, thank you, Dr. Lenny. I think that we have a lot of questions we can actually chit-chat about. But look at the time, we need to move on to the reading.
So thank you, everybody. Bye.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Lenny, again. So, Huilin, let me pass the floor to you.
Okay, so since Dr. Lenny talked about Roy, so today it started the story how I went into briefing, become a breast coach is also because of him, because of him as well. He's already 10 this year, by the way. I totally talk about him that he's still running around. People thought that he's hyperactive when he was, I think, 1.5, like 2 years old that time. Non-stop, actually. Everybody thought he's hyperactive. He can jump from like one sofa to another, and he never even like stay still for more than 5 minutes at time. So what I'm going to share today is about aromatherapy, which is what we talk is about just essential oil. Actually, it's beyond just essential oil. Aromatherapy is about essential oil, where we combine also with plant oil and also with hydrosol. I use quite a lot of hydrosol medicines to help and to help them also to wind down. Even like baby also, and also like breath work. The breath work I'm talking here is not just for kids. Actually, it's for adult also. Like just now when our kids actually have a meltdown, sometimes like we're not talking about ASD or ADHD kids. Even for like just like our kids, sometimes like, I think it happens to most of the kids that sometimes when you go to a shopping mall and we see some toys that they like a lot, what they do is that, oh, I don't want to go, I don't want to go. And then they started all kind of dramatic movements. So there's a time that we, mommy or parents, we can start with our, we call, this is what we learned actually in, I Inspire in one of the, actually the I change the basic method for parent is the SOS. SOS start with stop, oxygenate, which is reserve, and then we switch. Then only then we start talking to our kids, and it works. It will help us to calm down ourselves, and then instead of we transfer the anger or the time we are so agitated, we are so worried about how people look at us, and we transfer that emotions to our kids. It makes a lot of difference, and it really goes beyond calmness. And we teach our kids that, like, I believe that now my boys are like in primary school already. I believe that it's one of the most useful tools that they can use anywhere with them before they go on the stage, before they go for a sports competition, before they go to during the exam. Whenever they felt like butterfly in my tummy, they automatically know how to use this phrase and different type of methods to help themselves. It's like a self-help tool. Like you don't know when like palpitations or like nervousness will come to you. So whenever they thought, mommy, my heart is pumping faster and faster. So I normally ask them, hey, what do you think the first thing? To breathe, mommy, I breathe. Yes, because you might not have oil with you, you might not have clothing, but the only thing you have is your nose and your mouth and your heart and your body. So what they can do, they breathe. So that's the reason why I started to really look into the breath work, and I share a lot because it can help our kids a lot. So I'm not sure whether have you all really, I think because of COVID, people started to look into how to breathe properly. Because one of the post-COVID symptoms is that some of the post-COVID symptoms is that people having difficulties in breathing, and some they felt that their breathing ability doesn't go back to before they had COVID, or only when some like smokers, when they become like 50s, they have what's called like COPD, which is difficulty in breathing because of the muscle in the lungs getting weak. So actually, there's a medical term for short of breath, which is called dyspnea. It's when we are healthy, when we are young, we didn't realize it's actually fresh air in around us. It's actually very fresh. But when you are having shortness of breath, the feeling is that it's so difficult. You felt that you try so hard, but it's like nothing go in, and you felt like you started to have the cold sweat, and then your cold hand, and then normally people have this kind of problem is that when they started to have problems with the air, for example, asthma, COPD, or post-COVID complications, or they have heart problems. Like my mom's 6-7 years old, 6-7 years ago, when she had pleural effusion, which is water going inside the lungs, and then she had heart issues, swollen lung, swollen heart, and that time she also felt difficult to breathe because water goes into the lung because of effusion. And all you have emotion, which is the anxiety of panic attack. That is the time you felt that you are gasping for air. That is the shortness of breath. And that I really saw it with my eye, and they shocked me for 8.5 years ago. And that is when I saw this is Roy. That it was That is when he started. He started with practice. We let him practice the method of doing abdominal breathing when he was 2 years old. So that time we watched him when the attack, especially was in Taekwondo. Whenever he trained too hard, he already being attacked. So we will bring him to emergency. That time he will do at the same time. That is how we train him to do. And later I realized that because of this practice, no matter now how when he wants to go on stage and he will automatically do this practice. And actually he had until 7 years old. So this is a little about me. Also visiting aromatherapy in 360. I do aromatherapy teaching and other holistic work as well. So actually I'm not sure whether you all know about it. So actually now today, actually especially since COVID started, a lot, because this study was carried out in 2021. A lot of so-called young adults, because like Dr. Rahman shared in the morning, we call them young adults. Actually, they are teenagers stepping into the so-called young adults. During the COVID pandemic, their stress, their worsening anxiety and depression cases are increasing tremendously. This is what we notice. And we can see this, the meta-analysis also conducted that all these kind of symptoms are elevating in all these kind of youth. And actually, a lot of them, what you can see is that from the outside, they look like, oh, they're addicted to games. They started to close themselves within the room. They started, also because of MCO and all these things, people start less socializing. And they said they are not actually just addicted. They are actually having all these kind of anxiety and depression issues. So these are the latest studies, and one of the ways to help them to cope with this is actually with breathing exercise with aromatherapy. Why breathing exercise can help? It's proven among from children to teens and to adults. That work is one of the best ways to relax our body. It's not because of the oxygen intake. You'll be surprised. It's because when we really breathe properly, we can slow down our intake of oxygen, but increase the intake of carbon dioxide. And that will stimulate our parasympathetic of our body, which is help us to relax. And while we are doing that, a lot of breathing systems, we know that they will talk about counting. You count. But some kids, right, they are very imaginative, which is those we call them right brain kids. They can't count. The more you ask them to count, they will get lost. For those kids that cannot count, actually, later I will share, we can use actually graphic images and shapes, because that is actually what comes to their brain automatically. So they can actually train their focusing. If you have your voice, you notice, because of too much of online learning, your kids started to lose their focus. Breathing method is one of the best ways to train back their focusing mind. You try that, you can start again like with just like 1 month and see, 1 week with minimum 3 days per week, and you can observe the effectiveness of it. And of course, it will help to reduce the stress and the anxiety. And also, while we are doing this, because it's even the parasympathetic of us within the body, it will lower our heart rate. So that is the reason why those that we have the panic attack, right, they will help people to calm down automatically. And also, they will slowly, while we slow down everything, we can breathe properly, they will increase back our body oxygen level, which can help us to calm down. I think this is actually a lot of times like in those got COVID, and then when they go into the hospital, they will ask you just to practice breathing. If you can ask those patients that have been warded because of COVID, they actually practicing the breathing method. And one of the breathing method that later we are going to practice is really can help with post-COVID complications. I will highlight that to everybody because it can help a lot of people around us as well. So take a deep deliberate breath can actually calm a person physically, and because it can activate the parasympathetic nervous system, and we can redirect our mind to do a simple task. Especially when we have those kids that now today is too much of digital screen time. until they can't really sit down and focus on one thing. And while training them to breathe properly, slowly, and we can redirect their brain to focus on one thing, this is breathing. You all can try and you will notice that kids can start to focus again. Right? And why I combine aromatherapy is that if you do have the oil that we send out together, if you already received together with our calendar, right, you can try to just drop a few and then you can rub on your, or you have any oil with you can just rub between your palms and then you can just nose in. You know why? Can you go now? Inhale, and then just close your eyes and feel it, and then you, okay. You will notice actually before and after you apply the oil, you will feel the difference. Why? Why this happens? And why sometimes, like, for example, I know Dr. Lenny's favorite, if you got a calendar card, you can see Dr. Lenny's favorite oil is what? Peppermint. Why? Because she likes to feel fresh. You know, sometimes she thinks a lot and her patients a lot. Sometimes so she wants to feel fresh. So when you apply a little oil, you feel like a lot of things is in your mind. So you want to feel fresh again. So what you do peppermint. And almost instantly, you can feel fresh again. The whole brain is like something, wow, it's like so fresh. Why? Because the moment we notice the smell, the sense of essential oil, it will travel to our limbic system within 3 seconds. It's really, really, really fast. That is how fast essential oil, the sense of the essential oil can affect our limbic system, and hence it will affect our mood, memory, and behavior and emotions. Very fast, fastly and very fast. And it's how I used to, whenever, especially if I travel, definitely I'll bring along essential oil, because we know one of the major things that kids will have is that they will recognize the bed, they will recognize their smell, they will recognize the bed sheet smell also. My kids are like that. So whenever they travel, they will find it so difficult, especially to go to bed. So what I will do is that I will always bring along, sometimes I will make it into like pillow mixing. So the first thing I get into a hotel is I spray the whole bed, the bed sheet, the hotel. Then it's very easy because they thought, the smell, the scent is so familiar, like my house. Then I have no problem. So when there's time that it's time to sleep, then okay, very fast. It's not, I had trouble. There was once I missed my essential. Then they will complain, Mommy, the pillow got smell, the bedsheet got smell, toilet got smell. Hey, of course. But this is one of the way I because the essential oil can actually affect, to actually bring back the memory, that at home memory. So they can bring back the memory at home, then they feel more comfortable, they feel more relaxed. So when they're traveling, to put them on bed, it's much faster. So it depends on the characteristic of your kid. So for those that is like, let's say I have 2 boys, one is like everything also I worry, I don't have the guts, I don't have the encouragement to do something. In that case, I use more sutures. I focus on the solar plexus more. So whenever we want to try something new in the school, I will focus on the solar plexus, apply more sutures, or to encourage him more. So actually, I use it to, before he goes to school, before he tries something, before he tries new activities. So this is how then when he go there, when the nervousness strikes, I say do what? Breathe, go bubble, count the balloon. Or when difficult to breathe, then we use the breathing method also to combine with all. That is how I apply daily on my kids. So that is how I say, hey, it works and it doesn't cost a lot of money. But when it comes to other issues like skin issue and all these things, it actually brings back to what Dr. Lenny said just now, heavy metals. Heavy metals not only affect like the cognitive functions of the brain, it does affect the immune system and also does affect the skin. So sometimes we really, when you go to the bioresonance system checking, you will actually find out the root cause. When they find the heavy metals, it solves a lot of the problems for kids. Okay, so then people might ask, okay, just breathe slowly, really go in, I smell good. Have the sick have any proof? Sometimes I feel like that more, why do you think that? How it can affect? how the water will flow from high to below, and how that is how actually the quantum energy, like E equal to mc squared, is that how we balance the energy. High energy will always balance the low energy. That is actually the proof in aromatherapy. There is a scientific study, it's called the process of entrainment. So what we do is that our healthy human body, there's a frequency machine to measure our human frequency. So our normal human body frequency is around like 62 to 70. So but, however, our human cell will start to mutate when their frequency is lower than 62. So when we are sick and having flu, actually our frequency is only at 58 megahertz. But when cancer appears, it's actually when our cells, the frequency within the vibration within our cells is going lower, 42. And when the death process started, is when we are coming down until 22. And what happens to the essential oil is that certain essential oils, they have very high frequency. Can you imagine those have essential oil of 330 megahertz? And lavender itself, which is our very popular essential oil. And actually, most of the kids, they will love it because we call this what? The oil, the sense of mother. They give them calmness, peace, because of the ester essence, which is one of the chemical structures in this essential oil. So most of the kids, most of the time I tested Roy Lafan, he loves this so much. And he loves this until he can pick up, oh, mommy, this is what brand, you can say, this is what brand lavender. Because of the vibration for this, he actually can come down. And he also loves sandalwood. Then that is how I started to look into it. Why he can actually. So sometimes when because his asthma that time he was very weak. You can see his face was turning purple and purplish already. But the oxygen level is like 90 that time. So the energy level was very low. But I did notice the moment I apply like frankincense, I apply like sandalwood aroma, then it really he can calm down himself, and then I can see the face color started to change when he can calm himself down and started to breathe properly. And when we talk about food, because just now we got not talking about the food to contain certain the way of cooking, and also what is the way of cooking actually not affect the nutrients, it will affect the content of the heavy metal, and also actually they do affect the frequency from the food. If you look at here, hamburger only contains 3 to 5 megahertz. But if you look at those, why we talk about raw food, it's got 3 hertz and broccoli about 70 hertz. So from here, actually, we know that the food that our kids take actually do affect their health and their frequency, because kids were born clean with quite high frequency, but it's the food that they are taking is actually deteriorating. That's why when we combine with breathing and aromatherapy, they can actually realigning. I don't say increase, because I can say it's realigning, because it's still back to the energy. Energy is about balancing the high and the low energy within our body. So what is that? I think combining them is making sense, and in fact, many natural property essential oil actually can help to open up our airway naturally. For example, like lavender, bergamot, and Roma chamomile is proven in many clinical studies that we can even help to open the airway, let us focus, and also they can limit the allergy reaction, to clear the mucus, especially when kids are having cough or congestion. Even adults sometimes we felt like it's so agitated that they can calm us down, and then we can talk, and we can handle our kids' issues more rationally. Okay, because I remember when Roy was so sick at time, and even when my second son he had eczema time, I had managed better, but still not to the right point, because at time I still have anxiety. So before I can handle my anxiety and fear, I can't really actually handle them well. Until I handled my own anxiety and fear really well, then I noticed, hey, I have more and more idea how to handle them better, and the idea will come more naturally. Only later I understand from the perspective, like from chakra point of view, from the energy flow point of view, from the vibration energy point of view, then I know. Because when we have fear and we have anxiety, when as a parent, when we have this kind of fear and anxiety, this kind of vibration, we are blocked from getting more idea how to help them. So it's like an empty cup. Like let's say the cup is empty. How we can fill to help the kids to fill themselves? It's like the logic is not there anymore. That's the reason why I think I really want to share this two out of the most powerful tips in stress reduction. Maybe you might ask, what are the most 5 powerful toolkits in stress reduction? Everybody talk about they are so stressful. Even the kids, you know, my boy, the youngest one now is preschool. I think every 2 weeks he'll come back. Mommy, my teacher said today he's so stressed. Every 2 weeks he will repeat. Mommy, my teacher said she's so stressed. It's a repetition, you know. I don't know what your teacher is so stressed about. And the teacher keep on repeating this to the kids. Actually, then I asked myself, do you know what it's so stressed about? But the kids have been like, you know, programmed in the brain already. So even the young kids, like 23 years old, they already know what so stressed. So, but everybody says so stressed. But these are the proven studies carried out in year 2020. They said these are the 5 proven 5-minute stress reduction strategies. So if you always say that every day you are so stressed, maybe you can jot down this slide. What are the 5 most stressful stress reduction strategies? First, basic. Secondly, progressive muscle relaxation. You know what is the progressive muscle relaxation? If you go to yoga, right, before you go to the final savasana, the yoga teacher will ask you, okay, now you close your eyes, you relax the part of your body muscle part by part. Normally, you will start from the top of the head, your heart, your eye, your eyebrow, your nose, your jaw, then your shoulders, your body part by part until your toes. That is progressive muscle relaxation. It was proven can really help you to relax your whole body, tense muscle. Third one is aromatherapy. The fourth one is quick burst of exercise, which is to distract you from what you are making you so stressed and create the endorphins and the outlet of frustration. Because when you run, when you go out, you can shout, just let the emotion out. And the fifth one very easy, just laugh, have a good laugh. Okay, these are the 5-minute stress reduction strategies. So out of the 5, today I will focus on only 2. Okay, and actually when you combine these two, even when you're going for a labor, it was proven this one, the randomized in this randomized study, one, the control arm is just practice of breathing. If you have been in hypnobirth, hypnobirth also focus a lot on using the proper breathing method to breathe out the baby. But if you combine with just one single essential oil, which is lavender, in this study, it was published in 2018. They used only one single oil, which is lavender. It was proven that it can help to reduce labor pain. Can you imagine during labor, it was how painful? And this method, this combined 2 methods, it can help even the women to deliver the baby without any pain medication. So you can know that how powerful it is when you combine these 2. Okay, it's the reason why I want to share today. Basically, it's actually the major one, 3 methods. So if you have the boys or girl around you, okay, now we can begin with. But these are the suggestions that I have for essential oil part. Fir is something that can help you for every. Lavender is to relax. Lemon is something I think most of the kids will like it, especially your kids. Your kids' school have some like bullying issues. I understood that some, like even young primary school, secondary school, already have some like school bullying issues around. So your kids, if you heard your kids say about this, sometimes downstairs or what, sometimes they cry or some take away their things. You don't want them to keep this out emotions within them. Before the kids go to school, you can apply some lemon on the belly because this is all about this cause. It actually can somehow protect them and make them emotions like calmer, have more courage to handle all kinds of emotions. And also particularly, these are relaxing essential oils. So we are going to start now how to do all these types of breathing actually. Method, okay? So for kids, for even like in like a lot of anxiety or panic attack or condition cases that I have, like I prefer to start with the first one, which is lying down. Lying down method is easiest, and for kids it's the easiest. Why? Because I normally ask them to put the left side. This is the left hand, because left hand connected to our heart is the closest one, and then they put on the heart, and then the right hand is actually touching the belly, the tummy, so that they can feel whether they are breathing with the chest or breathing with the tummy. So when they lie down, it's more obvious. So diaphragmatic breathing or belly breathing is the most effective way in learning the proper breathing. Actually, if you look at newborn babies, all babies with this method. You look at them, their tummy is up, down, up, down. So the correct method is when you inhale, when the air going in, inhale, the tummy should come out. Exhale, tummy go in. So when, if let's say you are doing this together with your boy or children, you can give them some imagination. So what I normally do with my boys before they sleep, I practice together with them is that when you inhale, I'm taking a balloon in. That's why now the balloon go inside my tummy. That's why you see my tummy getting bigger. Okay, now I'm taking out my balloon out. Exhale. That's why my balloon come out already. So now let's count how many balloons I can take inside my tummy. So I tried normally before 10 breaths, they already sleep. So for me, this is the easiest way to put them to sleep. Because I don't have to stare, I don't have to sing, I don't have to do so many things, I don't have to act. So I said, okay, let's count how many balloons, okay? You see how many who get the most balloons. So I count one balloon in, out. Okay, second balloon in, out. Normally, then, the more they practice, then like sometimes I will count the exhalation because I want to increase the relaxation part. Then exhalation part, I will drag it longer. So if I drag it longer, sometimes by the 5th breath or the 6th breath, no more sound from them. Sleep already, very fast. So I thought it's so it's a good practice because if you travel, if you go to other places, if you're not sleeping in their normal bed, they use this method. Plus the oil, the meat, the spray, I mean, so it's like for them, it's like it's just a normal, it's a habitual thing already. So they just count the balloons. Oh, how many balloons I keep inside my tummy? So this is very easy because they can see, they look at the tummy or balloon in, balloon out, balloon in. But bigger one, sometimes what they can do is that the sitting upright position is what they can do as an adult or when they're in the school. I can't come in. They sit up, then they count how many balloons. And this you can try. If you try their high stress, you try 3 rounds. In, I put balloon inside my tummy. Out. In. Out. In. Out. The palm that you rest on your chest is to make sure that your chest is not moving. Which one is the moving one? It's only your right hand. That is the correct way of belly breathing. You see the girl, her left arm is not moving, only the right side. So this is the correct way of moving. So if the more you practice, then the easier it will be. If you combine with all those oil that exposed, then you can diffuse it in the air for adults. For kids, you can just spray. They don't know what to diffuse. You can diffuse the oil before they go to bed, and then you can practice this. This is the easiest, and this is the basic for other breathing methods, which is like the square, the triangle, the rectangle, all different types. Okay? And which goes with our second one. This second one is very, very useful for post-COVID complications. Let's say you are at home, you have antibodies. After COVID, also become so difficult to recover. Still have some breathing difficulty, or you have some old family members, they are suffering from COPD, or you have asthmatic kids. Yes, this is the breathing method. The breathing method is like 1, 2, inhale, exhale. We call pursed lip. Pursed lip. How you imagine pursed lip? Pursed lip is like this. You blow the bubble, or you blow the plant, or Sometimes I use this to, if I teach younger kids to breathe, right, you can just use a tissue. The aim is make sure when you blow the tissue, all the kids like this method. You can ask everybody take a tissue, 1, 2. Okay, or you can give them a list. Tissue is very easy of feather. The service is also called feather breathing of feather, but it's quite difficult to find feather. So the tissue is a good one. That's why when I have a group of kids, they like to do this together. We have then we say, okay, let's have a competition. Whose tissue drop the last? It's a winner because they have to. Okay, or blow bubble. Blowing bubble is a very good practice because when I bring them to the park also, I will let them blow. Actually, they are practicing this kind of pursed lip breathing method, and this pursed lip breathing method can actually help us to regain back our breathing and to strengthen back our lung breathing ability. Yes, correct. Michelle, correct. Okay. You see, the moment you stop, exhale slowly.
Everyone, if you can,
the
open
tissue
up
paper
your
will drop.
video and do it. Show me your tissue.
So it's about how our control of the.
Don't use the tissue to wipe your mouth. Please take a clean one.
It's a very good, and the kids, they find very so fun, you know, when we sit in a circle, then everybody couples and then say, 1, 2, 3. Oh, the last one who teaches up the last one is really good stamina. Means that they can really exhale very long. And that is a time their parasympathetic nervous system gets stimulated.
This is actually very fun to play among adults as well. Also train your lungs capacity. You do this kind of breathing.
It will actually clear the lung. Yes, it will clear the toxins from the lung. That is the reason. Actually, even in Taiwan, the respiratory clinic for those COVID patients, they are asking them to do this in the ward every day. It's just that when they are having breathing difficulty, what they do is that they have to move forward a bit their body. Then they have to lean on the bed, and then they do this. Or the other way that they do for adults is actually they take a mirror, then they look at the mirror, they make sure that when you blow on the mirror, there is a water droplet coming out. For them to play so that they can focus and they can look at the lips themselves. But in the hospital, in Taiwan hospital, this is what they do for the COVID ward. Have breathing difficulty patients. They do, but they have to move forward a bit because when you move forward a bit, actually you enlarge your lung capacity. So if you, and sometimes even our kids when they cough too much, too much phlegm, you can ask them to do this. It will help them to breathe better. Okay, so this applies for COPD patients, post-COVID patients, asthmatic patients, or even any time that even frankly, for my second boy, I went for hypnobirthing. I use this method to breathe the baby out, and it can reduce the pain and anxiousness, the panicky feeling. Help a lot. And the third one is for kids, and especially if you have those imaginative kids. These are all the shapes, different shapes. Just pick the shape your kids like. For example, let's say you have a kid who loves donuts. Okay, then this is the donut. So small out. Okay, when you inhale, is that when the donuts get bigger. Follow the shape ratio. When at the beginning when we practice it, then we look at the ratio. Inhale, then exhale is when the donut shape gets smaller. Then. But after they practice for a while, these images actually are all within their brain. They don't have to. You just have to use voice to guide them. Pull out the visual again. And if they like numbers or infinity, this is what we do. You can follow, the infinity in, out, in, out. And this is another shape. We can breathe in, hold, breathe out. And we can form a hexagon. This is for bigger kids. And we can, for those who love, like girls, who love flowers, then we can follow the flower shape. Because now today, like afternoon session, we have Hannah who talk about colors and shapes and lines, what it means to the kids. Some kids, they love colors. It brings more meaning for them in learning. That happened to my younger boys also. If you count for him, you get more confused. Whereas my elder son, yeah, he needs to count because he's too active. He was too active at home. So counting actually pays him a lot. So you have to look at your kids, like what Dr. Lenny said. So for my eldest son, I use a lot of counting, like in, 1, 2, 3, 4. Out, then I double 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So if you have this kind of like less brain more oriented kids or kids that it's too fast, they don't know how to stop one, you need rhythm. 3, 4, hold, then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Sometimes this kind of counting and the pacing, the tapping, it will guide them and pace them. But if you have those very imaginative kids and they love graphics, they love art, they love color a lot, then this kind of graphics we call shape breathing can help them a lot. So also we have to tailor the breathing method, we have to tailor it to the kids. And some kids also, especially younger ones, and then like just now, the tissue, feather, leaf, or sometimes we do in the park, right? You can just, everybody just pick a leaf, big leaf, and then we can practice that. So we have to tailor it to individuals. But the donut one, a lot of kids they like it for the visual because a lot of kids love donuts because it means something that is sweet. Then it links to some happy moments for them. So then for them it's a linking memory that when it comes to breathing training, it's about donuts. It's what they like. So for kids, what they want to do, as long as they felt that it's something fun, something they like, it become a happy moment for kids. So this is what I observe. Okay, so sometimes when kids, right, this is last breathing method that I want to actually sometimes like when kids have a meltdown, for example, or when they come back with a bad day, or sometimes, or we adults come back with a bad day. This is a breathing method that I like actually parents and kids to do together. So that we do together. Because there's always a rainbow after a storm. It's very easy. You just imagine the rainbow. Inhale. Inhale. So it's very simple. Like arm, everybody can do with me now. Like arm, start at the side of the body first, and then arm go up as you breathe in. What we imagine inside our brain is that we are taking up we are breathing in all the good energy around us. And as we breathe out, we are breathing out all the bad mood, bad energy, all the agitation out, spreading out. So we can teach kids like that. So today, something not happy, sometimes that kids so young, they only know how to cry. Okay, then we say, wow, we take all the rainbow inside your brain, okay, but you're unhappy one, but you cry. But just now, let's say the bullies or something that people get the thing, all that not unhappiness, you just take out. The important thing is the pump, the movement of the pump. When you take in the good energy, you're supposed to collect it. So the pump should be facing it. But when you're breathing out the bad energy, means that they're exhaling, it should be facing out. Because they want to push away. This actually method also used in those like right brain training class, like Shikita, all this. Before the class begins, they will tell the kids, breathe in the good energy, the rainbow. And then we don't want one, we push out, breathe out. So for this breathing method, the palm movement is very important. So I know MCO changed a lot of things. and gives a lot of people a lot of stress also. So actually adults, we should do this together with kids. We have breathing good energy. Sometimes we have a bad day, and all the bad ones, it's okay, we bring up. We expel all the bad things out. Okay, it's all over. It's rainbow coming already. So you can try. You do this 3 to 5 times. When you have a bad day, or the kids have a bad day, or they just have a meltdown, it's okay, never mind, let's play. We collect the good rainbow. Then only when they talk about it. You can try. The way that they talk, the way that they shout, they used to shout will be different. You can try. This method really, you have to try it out. Only then you can see the difference. Okay, so some few little notes for you all to take back is that practice only when the child is come. You don't wait until he's trying and not out. You can't sometimes let's practice using method. No, it won't work like that. You have to practice when they are in good mood and they are calm. And say, oh yeah, let's play something new. Because when they're not there, you say, oh, you do something new. Then they will hate that forever. But yeah, because when they're young, you make it fun, then they will link. They will link with their memory that, oh, this is something that's fun, After I do it, I feel better. So it's like the memory, inside the memory, they have some good memory. Like this is like implanted. So later when they grow up, when they go to school, then the environment is like more people involved, more friends, more stimulations. Then they will pull back this memory and they will know how to apply them. And sometimes the way that they apply the breathing method, you'll be surprised how they use it. You will not know. And keep your schedule simple. Like for me, it's like I start with like before the kids sleep. It's simple, okay, before they sleep, because for me, it's like I take my time, better than singing or do all kind of work, then I use this method. So make it as simple as possible and adapt to what's best for your kids, like what I said just now. Make it fun and make it like a bonding time together. I know that from the form, like one of the reason that join this webinar is that one of the reason I write is that sometimes parents we felt guilty because not spending enough time with the kids. So I think we can change our thinking method. When we are doing this, actually, we are spending quality bonding time together to generate it. We are helping ourselves and we are helping the kids together. Okay, and practice forms habits. So if you practice regularly, so when the kids or ourselves when we do it, it will come automatically. Instead of us, I can't come to. Then other side, I say, oh, I know already. I count the bubble. Then, hey, the thing's gone. I'm not nervous anymore. I know how to handle. They will come automatically. So, take time to breathe in the aroma of life, which is essential oil. And sometimes not only essential oil, but to young kids, we actually suggest to use tiger straw, which is in the bath water. We can add, and it will help. And taking care of ourselves, I mean, for adults, as parents doesn't mean it's me first. It also means me too. Okay, we are all team members. So a family is everybody together. It doesn't mean that mother or parents have to sacrifice. No, we are together. Okay, that is why our kids pick us to be a parent. Okay, any questions? Never mind. If there are any question also, you all can email to this parentkidsaroma@gmail.com, or also you can leave any message to the parentkidsaroma Facebook Messenger. Okay, after this, if you are still confused about the breathing method, but I think the simplest breathing method that we can do with kids, actually in the breathing method there are many types. Because for adults we talk about coffee type, how to stimulate our systematic nervous system so that we can be more energetic. We have a water type of breathing method and we have whiskey type of breathing method to calm down ourselves. That is for adults. But this one is together with kids. I picked some more fun ones. So there are many different types. So if not, then that's all my presentation today.
All right. right. Thank you, Hui for the great sharing. Donut and rainbow actually is my daughter's favorite reading letter as well. But to be frank, keep it functional, do it daily, make it a routine is the key way of actually making it happen. So that it, like Hui said, it doesn't mean that when the kids having tantrum or a meltdown only you started to apply. Automatically when this thing already a routine, it kicks in, then it's easier for you to do it. So do the parents. You can actually breathe in, then only it calm your child, okay? Like auto-functional already, subconscious, you know what to do, which is actually can be practiced, okay?